not just a case. You're not just a client. You're a person, and you deserve support. You deserve simplicity. You deserve communication. When you hire an attorney, you deserve clear, risk-free advice that guides you to the best possible outcome in your injury case. And that's exactly what the advocates have been providing for over 30 years. After your accident, you deserve closure. You deserve compassion. You deserve peace of mind. You deserve an advocate.
This is The Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find The Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, The Monty Show, live on Monday, October 6, 2025. As always, we are presented by The Advocates at theadvocates.com. The best injury attorneys in the business, 24/7, 365. Don't hesitate. Do not even think about it. When the worst happens, make sure you're prepared. Get to theadvocates.com, or you can chat with an injury attorney 24/7, 365, and it won't cost you a dime. See, because you never reach into your pocket to pay the advocates. They know when you've been in an accident, the last thing you need to be thinking about is how you can afford to pay an attorney to fight for you. No, you don't pay the advocates unless and until they win your case. Hand them the claims process. Let them go fight the fight that the advocates have fought for so many other folks, clients, people just like you. And the best part is they fought those fights and they've won. Clear risk-free advice right now at theadvocates.com. What an outrageous week in college football. What an outrageous week in the National Football League. And there are just so many games that I got wrong this weekend. Like, this was one of those weekends where almost nothing went right in college football. And obviously, I mean, you look at the AP poll and you say to yourself, what world are we all living in? Because I look at this AP poll and maybe I just don't know college football. I mean, so many of you tell me, Monty, you don't even watch college football,
Morty.
boy.
Morty.
Hey, Morty, you don't even watch college football. I am amazed at the fact that the honeymoon, and now I guess I should be happy because the honeymoon for Notre Dame is amazing, that we are 16th in the country. GTFO. Like, that to me feels outrageous. I believe that BYU should be ranked higher than 18th. I believe it's a complete joke that Michigan is thought to be one of the top 15 teams in the country after that performance this weekend. That Indiana is 7th on this list is remarkable to me. That somehow here we are, and you look at this poll, and the hypocrisy is the Knuckle Deep boys lose one game and they're out. Florida State's lost how many games and they're still in the top 25, which is wild to me. And if you're the Big 12, I think you're probably happy that Texas Tech was off this week, because Iowa State somehow found a way to lose a game, and they're all the way down to 22, behind Vanderbilt, behind Virginia. Like, I don't know. I guess it's every Monday on the show we come out and we rip the AP poll, Jake.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that the issue with this is that ultimately, like, this is about sentiment as usual, right? I mean, Penn State is out because they lost 2 weeks in a row, and you just lost to a team you had no business losing to. That's why you're out of the AP. It's as simple as that. It's got nothing to do with stats or overall record or anything like that. If you had lost to Oregon in OT, then lost to, let's just say, the best SEC team or Ohio State or, another national championship caliber team, you'd still be in the AP top 25. But that's not what happened. And I absolutely think that type of consideration should be at play in the AP top 25. Now, the obvious inference here is for teams like Utah, who have one loss to now number 9 ranked Texas Tech, but they're somehow not in the top 25, which is, again, where I say this is not about stats and analytics. This is about perception, right?
Yeah.
Like, just the same way Penn State is not in the top 25 anymore is the same way that Utah doesn't deserve to be in the top 25 because they don't win when they need to. That's their single biggest problem. They'll beat that ass if it's Wyoming, but you put them on national TV and we got another problem. So that's the problem here. When you look at the AP, is like, hey, like, how is BYU not higher? Well, it's BYU. People have questions, right? Like, that's play.
I would agree with that. I think it's BYU, and BYUA is never going to get the benefit of the doubt. I don't think any of us even question that. I don't know what you do if you're Penn State, because I think, and I talked about this with Average Ass Aller for how many years now? I've said, I just don't think the guy's going to throw you to a big game. I think he's unathletic. I think he is not a gifted thrower of the football, and he's got a coach that frankly doesn't win big games. Yet, this is that whole thing that I always talk about with rhetoric, with messaging, with branding. The AP poll, and I think largely in a lot of situations, it's not even just the AP poll anymore. You look at the way that fans view college football teams, and it's this team's the best team or this team belongs. Under no circumstance, and I hope people understand this isn't me just coming out with this today. I've been out on Penn State for the entire season.
Bro, you've been out on Penn State for 2 years. Like,
I have, because I do not believe that Drew Aller has ever displayed an ability to throw the football at a level that is required to win football games. And I am very much somebody who believes the best teams in this country have elite quarterback play. If I think of the best teams, the one exception is going to be the Miami Hurricanes, because, again, I watched an offense where, and this is going to be that perception versus reality thing. I watched Carson Beck throw fly balls to fast wide receivers. That's not elite quarterbacking play. That team won because of their defense. But I look at Penn State. Penn State doesn't have elite quarterback play, and they're not getting elite defensive play. Nico Imaliava in his not $4 million NIL deal absolutely carved them up. And this is a quarterback. And granted, I think coaching played a huge role in this. Nico Imaliava is the quarterback we all believed he would be against Penn State. And I think it's because Jerry Neuheisel is a guy that understands offense. And I go back, and before we rip James Franklin, who's an average ass coach who I think doesn't belong being a maker of men, I look at Jerry Neuheisel, and I am, if you are not happy for Jerry Neuheisel, I don't know, you're dead inside.
I hate to say this, but I had never practiced with the headset in terms of like the button to talk to the quarterback. So there's like multiple times during the game I'm calling the play, but the headset's flipped up because I'm used to being a position coach. And then all of a sudden I'm pressing the wrong part of the button trying to talk to him. Like it was a mess. Hopefully we'll get that cleaned up by next week. But just one of those days. It just all kind of fell into place.
And the other thing he said, and that's awesome, the other thing he said is, first of all, I love UCLA. I love everything about UCLA. Jerry Neuheisel is UCLA through and through. From his dad, the legendary Rick Neuheisel, to being a guy at UCLA, to being a player, a position coach, now the interim coach, to being carried off the field by his players. This is everything that college football is about. And I'll continue to tell you, you remember this now, on August 4th, they won this game. UCLA is putting the proper amount of resources into winning football games now, and they have a guy that their players believe in. Okay, throw all that out. I go to Penn State. I don't know that I've ever heard a worse post-loss press conference from a guy that is absolutely a scumbag as a human being. Not only being a scumbag as a human being, but going after his players as James Franklin did.
Yeah, obviously we did not handle last week's loss well. We also lost some players in that game during the week, and then everything else, the travel, everything else. did not come out with the right energy to start the game. And before you know it, obviously they get a touchdown drive, an onside kick, and now you're fighting. They gain confidence, and we're fighting for the next 3 quarters. So that's my responsibility, and I didn't get it done.
So let me get this right. We didn't handle the emotions of the loss last week. So the players are not emotionally ready. We didn't handle the travel well. So the players weren't ready to travel to play a football game. We gave up a score right out of the box. Like he's just blaming his players. He's blaming his players and blaming his players. And then at the end, as though this POS human being finally figured out, oh, wait, I can't actually, perception being what it is these days, I can't actually blame all the players. Even though I'm perfect in every way, shape, and form, I actually have to wear some of the responsibilities for being an average-ass football team. Oh, and then I have to do a better job. This guy ain't it. This is what's wrong with college football. James Franklin, what's wrong with college football? The knuckle deep boys and the guys on Epstein Island need to get this guy out. He's the problem. It's not the players. He's got tons of talented players. It's not the travel. It's not the emotions. You're a terrible head coach and an even worse human being. James, this is your fault. Your teams continuously lose to ranked opponents. Your teams on the road and at home continually lose to ranked opponents. Your kids continually find themselves in trouble with sexual assault allegations at both Vanderbilt and Penn State. Your program is rife with mediocrity and mediocre-ass football players, and that's your fault. Your team wasn't prepared, and that's your fault. Your team was emotional and unable to deal with the loss. That's your fault. Your team wasn't ready to handle travel. That's your fault. Your defense wasn't prepared for Nico Imaliava. That's your fault. They play for you and your staff, and you guys didn't do the job. That's your fault. Stop blaming the players and start taking accountability.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think it's any clearer than that, and I think that, you know, the question of the day is, should they fire him now? And I would. I mean, I don't know what you have to lose, right? I mean, obviously now you're on the precipice of, you know, not going to the CFP. I mean, you're going to need some help now to go to the college football playoff as a 2-loss team, and I just think that it's a situation where the team is just not. Like, this is unexcusable. This is unacceptable. This is, like, with all due respect to Jerry's blonde locks and his great Cinderella story, this is nothing other than Penn State dropping the ball, being unprepared, you know, not taking this game seriously, and then you're blaming all the other factors. I mean, travel's part of your job, dude. Like, how many times is UCLA or USC or any of the West Coast teams going to have to come east to play you guys? Like, I mean, Oregon just came to your place and beat your ass. You didn't hear them complaining about travel. So I don't know, man. I just think that it's Penn State fan is going to say, well, give him the rest of the year, you know, fire him after the year. Dude, if you're Penn State, like, in UFCFP expectations every single year, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Have you not seen enough with Drew? Have you not seen enough with the program and how it's set up and everything? Like, I just, you know, any player in that locker room can sit there and tell the media that, oh, we still have a chance and season's not over. With all due respect, dude, your season's over. Like, your season is over, and it just is what it is. And I hope that James Franklin does get fired. I think it's high time. It's been time. And at some point, the Big Ten needs to figure out how they're going to get more teams into the CFP.
Yeah, and I think right now the Big Ten is stuck in a quagmire of really average-ass coaching. And whether that is Michigan, again, I have no idea why you are not allowing Bryce Underwood to be a two-way stud. I have no idea. He is, I think, absolutely regressing under really crappy coaching, in my opinion. I look at Dylan Raiola is another great example. This is a guy that is, in my opinion, not growing as a quarterback. He's not, in my opinion, he's not developing into a guy that can carry a program. And I look at his numbers and I say to myself, dude, what were you trying to do with Dylan Raiola this weekend? I'll never understand it. Right. And we go to the best quarterbacks in this country, and we're going to argue this in a bit, but I look at somebody like Ty Simpson, and Ty Simpson, I think, is the best quarterback in the country right now. And after week 2, you guys were all in the comments section pronouncing him dead. And I continue to tell you, up and down this league, whether it is a Michigan team that just can't score points, whether it is a Maryland or a Washington or I look at, again, Raiola is probably the best example of this. Winning covers up all of the problems, right? They scored 38 points. He's 16-21 for 194 yards, a touchdown and an interception. And he runs for -17. Dylan Raiola, supposedly one of the best quarterbacks in the country, accounted for 194 passing yards. And we're supposed to believe that a net, which is, I think, what is his net there? 170 yards. We're supposed to believe is somehow a great quarterback performance. Or, I mean, I don't see it. I don't understand it. I don't understand how Aiden Childs is this average ass at Michigan State. I don't understand it. Yet then you look at Julian saying he's just a quarterback at Ohio State, and
another guy
that plays at Ohio State comes out, throws the football all over the place. All you expect out of Penn State quarterbacks is to be average ass, and boy, weren't they this weekend. I look at Drew Brees and I say to myself, how does Purdue have Ryan Brown and they can't win games? Purdue's now 2-3 and 0-2 in the Big Ten after giving up 43 points to Luke Altmaier, who threw for 390 and a touchdown. I'll never understand it. And James Franklin, yeah, I guess I just don't get it. I really don't. Noonan says, Aiden Childs is a poor man's Jalen Milroe. He sucks. He doesn't suck. No, he doesn't. And I've seen that kid for multiple years now, and I just, it's all about where you go. I think that's hugely important. Dude that abides. Michigan can't score, and winning covers up all problems. Michigan is winning, yet they're somehow an example of not a good program. The worst coaching, maybe the worst coach in the Big Ten. And you watch their offense, they're uncomfortable. They don't look like, you know what it looks like to me? And again, maybe you just don't watch them play football. I don't know. I watch Michigan play on a regular basis. Bryce Underwood looks like somebody who's like, why are we calling this play? Fuck it, I'm going to run my own. That's what it looks like when I watch them play football. He does not look like a guy who's comfortable running the play that's called, so he goes off script.
Bro.
Because you watch them play, and their offense looks off script on every single snap. And it is craziness. It's frenetic. It's not well organized. It's not schematically sound.
And against who? Like, you're sitting here trying to hold us accountable to something we said. Who the hell is the guy playing? Like, he's played one good team and got blown out 24-13. You're not even competitive at that point. And like, you're struggling and looking average ass as hell against Wisconsin, Nebraska, Central Michigan, and New Mexico, and we're supposed to sit here
and Wisconsin, Wisconsin's 2-3 and 0-2 in the Big Ten.
Like, what do you mean?
And he ran 5 times for 12 yards. That's not good. And this is the problem in the Big Ten. we celebrate mediocrity in the Big Ten, and I'll never understand it. I will never understand it. And the only thing that I think Michigan did well this weekend, which I think really helped them, they ran the ball 34 times. That offense, you should turn around and hand the football off. I don't know how many other ways I can say it. And I am just amazed. I am amazed that Michigan, Nebraska, and Penn State, those are the three that really stand out to me.
Nobody's scared of you, bro. Nobody's scared.
But I look at those three and I say to myself, the quarterback's the problem because the head coach is the problem. The program's the problem. The depth in the Big Ten is so minuscule and so non-existent because Sharon Moore is not a good head coach. Matt Rule is struggling to build a program at Nebraska. And Penn State with James Franklin, that's who you've always been with James Franklin.
Dude, these guys are all like you're all mediocre. Like all of you. Like Matt Rule's mediocre until he's not, right? Like Sharon Moore is a cheating ass mediocre coach who didn't earn his post, no doubt about it. Right? Like you look at, I mean, who else do you want to talk about? Obviously James Franklin. What else do we need to say? You're 4-21 against top 10 opponents. Your worst record against ranked opponents. Like I don't know, man. This is not hard to understand, dude. Like you look at a Big Ten schedule, and you talk to Michigan fan about that. And Michigan fan wants to tell you that they're the best thing since sliced bread. Losing 3 times against this schedule is embarrassing for Michigan. You should be a 1-loss team at most, and that 1 loss should be Ohio State. Simple as that.
And I think one of the hardest part about the Big Ten is you really should be. I don't think anybody's as talented as the SEC. I don't even think it's close. But when I look at the Big Ten, Julian Sayin is just so much better than pretty much every quarterback in the conference. Like Dante Moore aside, and because I think Dante, although what I saw at Ty Simpson this weekend, I think those two are phenomenal. Julian Sayin is doing everything right. Mechanically, he looks way better than he had. And I've seen a lot of Julian Sayin. That's the best mechanical performance I've seen out of him. The decision-making is really good. And again, you're playing Minnesota. So it's not a game of leverage, and they still ran it 29 times. Because they understand that when you have the depth at running back that Ohio State has, run the football so your young quarterback doesn't have to make throws of leverage. Oh, and he's 23 of 27, 326 and 3 touchdowns. And it was Minnesota. What else would you expect? You know what I would expect? The best defense in the country to dominate. And that's exactly what they did. They gave up 3 points. And they kicked Minnesota's ass all over that field.
By the way, nobody who's played Ohio State this year scored more than 10 points. So any questions?
It's wild. And I this week 7, we need to get some. This is the week we figure out how good Julian Sayin is, because I think Illinois is a very interesting team at 5-1. Now they got their asses kicked in Bloomington. That was ugly at Indiana. I want to see them at home give Ohio State a test. I don't know that they're capable of it. We're going to find out. But I think that game's one you really got to watch. And then Indiana going to Autzen to take on Oregon. That's going to be a hell of a game, because I actually think Indiana's defense is legit, and I think Dante Moore is legit. I think he's got something like 1,200 yards right now. Like, that's going to be an incredible game. And I think that the battle for the season, I think one of the under the radar games this week is Michigan at USC. And I'll be really interested to see what USC and Michigan show up and offer at the Coliseum. That's going to be a very interesting game. It's going to be really important for now. I don't want to put too much on, and I'm hesitant on Bryce Underwood because I just don't believe he's getting good coaching.
Yeah, well, I just don't think in that game Bryce Underwood's going to be the decider. It's going to be whether USC shows up in tackles and whether the offense shows up against a good team. You know, a team that can actually beat them.
Yeah.
And because Michigan State can't beat you. Like, you're not that guy.
I want to see if Bryce Underwood can be accurate and if they will let him run the football. Like, it is maddening to me how much talent Bryce Underwood has that is just going unused. It's just going unused. He had that one game against Central where he ran for 100 yards. Other than that, like looking at his stats, I don't know why they don't run him more. Even if you take out the Central Michigan game, he's still averaging 5.4 yards a carry. And they just do not let him run the football. And I'll never understand it because to beat SC, you're gonna need him to run the football. And I think you look at this league and it's going to be hugely important. And then, you know, I look at the Big 12. I don't know who the best team in the Big 12 is anymore. I was looking at a lot of metrics last night, and I think that Texas Tech's defense is very good. But I'm going to continue to tell you there's something amiss in this Texas Tech offense. And it worries me a bit because you're not going to be tested for some time now. If you're Texas Tech, you've got Houston, and you sputtered in that game. And if you watched the Houston game, Houston wasn't very good at all. Houston just was not good. I think Tech's defense is so physical, which is really surprising when you put a bunch of new dudes together, especially up front. You don't expect them to come out and just bend faces, right? Texas Tech is bending people's face masks. Like, they're doing the job up front. And there's just something uncomfortable about Baron Morton right now. And people are going to look at this performance and they're going to say, well, my 345 and a touchdown. It was Houston. And they're not good.
Yeah, that's it.
And I would also remind you, they ran the ball 48 times. Does that map to you? In 88 plays, they ran the ball 48 times. There's just something off. I don't know what it is. I still maintain that Baron Morton, that Utah game had a significant impact on Baron Morton. I think it played with his confidence a little bit. And it's easy to put up numbers when you're in that offense and that style of offense. Baron Morton, in my opinion, if they're going to win the conference and go to the college football playoff and make any noise in the playoff at all, Baron Morton won't be the starting quarterback. Whether that's injury or there's just something amiss. And I think for the first time in a long time, Texas Tech might have all the ingredients on the field now. Might. There's a long way to go. It's the second weekend of October. Texas Tech might have all the ingredients on the field to win the conference and go to the playoffs. I don't think one of those ingredients is Baron Morton. There's something off. And I think they're really good. And I'm going to be very interested to see how this. Watch the Baron Morton storyline.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's just something that doesn't feel like that offense should be clicking and dominating, and it's not. It was. Yeah, and
there were some drops, right? I mean, I agree that the Baron Morton thing is definitely a storyline. No question about it. But I also think on the other end of the throw, I mean, there were several drops in the end zone. There was.
Doesn't that
It's just
happen to
sloppy.
everybody?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't happen when you're playing Houston. It shouldn't be 1 touchdown. It should be 5 touchdowns. It should be 350 and 4 or 5 touchdowns, and your receiver should catch the ball, and your quarterback should look confident throwing the football. And it's not just a Barron issue. His issues impact other parts of the offense, and I think that Texas Tech to me is clearly the best team in the Big 12 right now. There's just not. BYU is not better than Texas Tech. There's no chance.
Well, let's see where Jack Kelly comes out. Let's see what happens there, because that's a huge injury for BYU. That is a huge injury.
We don't know who BYU is. They have played absolutely positively nobody. And
I don't
start
disagree.
that run right now.
I don't disagree with that.
Utah, Iowa State, Tech, TCU. So you're going on a run here where you're probably going to lose 3 of the next 5, I would guess. Just freshman quarterback. We know it's BYU. You're going on the road for Iowa State and Tech. Highly doubt you win both of those games, especially considering that Iowa State just decided not to show up this past week. Not really sure what that was against Cincinnati, but so I just don't think that there's a number 2 in this conference. That's the problem. And
I totally disagree. I think that it is. I think it's up for grabs who the number 2 is. I think, sure, Texas Tech is the best team in the league. Okay, I'm willing to say that. I'm also willing to say that I would not. Anybody saying that Arizona State can't beat everybody in this conference isn't watching Arizona State, because they can. The tenacity that they've showed the last 2 weeks in Waco and at home against TCU. I think we're starting to see Kenny Dillingham again. You want to talk about well-coached teams and well-coached leagues? What Kenny Dillingham is getting out of his defense, who is not the most talented defense in the league. They are not. But what you're starting to see and what you're starting to learn out of those 2 games, I think was really important. That we saw Arizona State win those 2 games. And now you go to Salt Lake City to face a team that I think is desperate. Because Utah at 4-1, I still maintain has one of the most difficult schedules with Arizona State at BYU, Colorado, Cincinnati. Don't sleep on Cincinnati. And everybody's been writing off Cincinnati. You can't tell me that's not a top 5 team in this league right now, because they're not a fluke at 4-1. They're 2-0 in the conference and they're 4-1. That's not a fluke that they're 4-1. At Baylor, K-State, and Kansas. I am telling you this team is desperate. And I do not believe that Texas Tech is far and away head and shoulders the best team in the league. I think they are the best team in the league until they're beaten. But you can't have it both ways, especially Texas Tech fan who says, oh, Utah's shitty, that's a bad team. Okay, well then if they're shitty and a bad team, you haven't played anybody. So which one is it? Because you want to mint yourself as the best team in the Big 12, and you want to tell me how great you are, and you want to denigrate Utah and say they're just this average-ass football team. Okay, well then, has Texas Tech played anybody?
Well, Monty, I mean, Arkansas, Pine Bluff. I mean, dude, blow your doors off.
But that's my point, is that, okay, if Utah's shitty, then you haven't played anybody. And I don't even argue that Utah's an average-ass team. But I think there is also no question that BYU deserves more respect than they're getting. Jack Kelly, I looked this morning, Jack Kelly's still listed as the starter at linebacker, which makes me think he's going to be fine and he'll play. And if he plays there, that's the best defense in the conference. If Jack Kelly's healthy, BYU's the best defense in the Big 12. And again, under Jake the haters, well, they haven't played anybody, Monty. Don't disagree. West Virginia, Colorado, East Carolina, Stanford, Portland State. You know, hey, listen, I'm with you. And I agree. Arizona, Utah, totally get it. Iowa State, Texas Tech, totally get it. We're going to figure out the next month who BYU is. Right now, I think they're in the argument with Arizona State as the second best team in this league. So,
yeah,
we'll see.
We'll see how it plays out. You know, I think Iowa State's dealing with a lot of injuries right now, which is obviously plaguing them and making things very difficult. Not a great time to be dealing with.
Everybody's injured.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's an excuse. I'm just telling you what it is. Like, you're losing.
Look, James Franklin.
Yeah,
Franklin.
You know, again, I know Iowa State doesn't have Big Ten TV money, but they have some injuries as well. So, you know, I think that it's you know, I just think Tech right now, if you said they're the best team in the conference, I'm not confident in them to win big games. I don't think anybody who's watched that team can be like, yeah, this is a team that'll just walk into most stadiums, go on the road, play whoever in the CFP and be able to get a win. I don't buy that for a second. I just don't. But obviously, you're one of 2 5-0 teams. You're one of 3 teams in the Big 12 to have scored more than 200 points this season. You're not in a bad place, but I just think that we have to see. I need to see what BYU is against a good defense. That's what I need to see. I don't doubt their defense. I need to see what their offense is like, against a quality defense that's as good as the one you have. So
what do you make of Texas Tech's offense? Is it because, again, this is that pew pew, throw the ball all over the place. Woohoo!
Mm-hmm.
Cool. But it's gimmicky and it's never won a national championship. And that's something to think about. They're putting up, because everybody wants to talk about, hey, Texas Tech's putting up 500 yards offense. Woo! That's cool. But again, in the parlance of Utah's shitty, what happens when you run into a good defense? And if Behren Morton's still your starting quarterback? I'm a little concerned about that because, frankly, when I look at some of these numbers, it does not give me great hope in this league. And again, I think Texas Tech's schedule is one of the easiest schedules in the conference. They have left at Arizona State, BYU, and that's it. Because they play Kansas at Arizona State, Oak State, at K-State, BYU, UCF at West Virginia. They're going to play 2 really good defenses. Arizona State's good. BYU's defense is off the charts good.
Mm-hmm.
The best defense in the conference. Those are their 2 opportunities to lose games.
Yep.
And if you're going to put up 500 yards on BYU, I will absolutely stretch my throat for Joey McGuire and do things that are unspeakable. Unless you're Oak State James in the Rectory.
Mm-hmm.
Because that feels like the only 2 opportunities for them to lose a game. That's it. Because I don't even know where else would they even come close to losing a game.
Oh, I mean, obviously Kansas has played season breaker before, right? Has given us upsets before. Would be a little surprised if Tech lost to them, but it is. Kansas is a reasonable enough team, capable if you turn it over. If you're having your worst day, they're having their best. Maybe they do something, but okay. But yeah, I mean, I think we'll see. If Tech is if Tech is in the same position now that they are, when they play BYU, if they're still on top of the conference, if Barron's still healthy, if we're still feeling good, then yeah, they're probably going to be favored in that game, being that it's a home game. But I don't know, man. I just think that Barron, there are intangibles that quarterbacks have, right? Barron has a lot of swag, big arm, mobile enough to go ahead and make big plays and create plays and throw his guys open and do all that great stuff that you want your quarterback to do. But there is also the intangible of not letting the moment get too big for you when you're playing a big game. And again, the Arizona State game that's a big game in the Big 12. It is that's a bigger game than the Kansas game. Depending on what you do in that game, that may be the biggest game of your season. If you lose that game, then the BYU game doesn't mean a whole lot. So I look at it and I say, dude, at some point this guy's got to show up and show out in big games. That's the reality of it.
Yeah, I don't know. That's quite interesting because I think when we get into this whole, when you're Texas Tech, for instance, and you only have 2 quality opponents left on the schedule, bro, I think you're going to be hard pressed if you lose a game. I think you're in real trouble. That's the only concern I have for Texas Tech, because they should run through this schedule like a hot knife through butter, man. If they are everything that Tech fan wants you to believe they are, and I'm not even saying you guys are wrong, I just don't know how they lose a game. I don't know how they lose a game. And I will continue to beat the drum that I've beat. I think this is the 4th week I've said it now. Baron Morton is a problem, because Baron Morton is a guy who we are now watching on a regular basis become the all or nothing big play guy. Mm-hmm. That's it. That's what it is. Lopes fan Gabe, who's been a member of the show for 33 months. Like button, you friggin' casuals. Yes, please hit the like button. If you are new to the show, and I know we constantly have new viewers on the show this time of year, I really appreciate everybody who's here watching. Thank you for being here. We couldn't do this without you. Please give us a thumbs up. Hit the like button. It really helps. We've had 1,100 views and only 35 likes, because I'm not good at this job of telling you to hit the like button. Aaron Wilson, America's favorite mailman. Speaking of Texas Tech, for $2, what sort of unspeakable things? Well, when they're unspeakable. Aaron.
James.
I am not going to take the bait from you, Aaron.
Yeah, we've done a good job steering clear of all the, innuendos so far. So let's keep the ball rolling.
Please do. No. We're not going to play this DM me on TikTok about the Cubs and derail the show thing.
That's bullshit.
Steve. The Cubs don't start for what, 4 hours? 3 hours? Can I just have the next 3 hours before my season comes to an end? Thank you. Big Pontiff for $2. Is Morton the James Franklin of QBs?
No, he hasn't been to the CFP enough.
He hasn't failed in the CFP enough to be James Franklin.
Yeah.
The problem is that there's not something where you can put your finger on it with Baron Morton. Bad mechanics, bad mentality. It's just not there. And watching a lot of him, and I've taken a lot of time. Before I ever said this, I took a lot of time to try and understand, because there's nothing that stands out. He just does not perform in big moments. And when you go to Houston and you go look at the Houston tape, or you go look at the Utah tape, he was terrible.
When there's nothing on the line, he's good. When there's something on the line, he's bad.
He does not perform on the road against ranked opponents. And I know it's crazy. If you're going to win in the CFP, you're going to be on the road, and it's probably going to be a ranked opponent. Unless Jabba the Manual is, greasing the skids, which he wouldn't for Texas Tech, and now he's out of the loop. But it is, in my opinion, I think it's a lot. And I look at the percentage of throws, even against Houston, 36% of his throws over 10 yards were dangerous throws. Let that sink. 36% of balls he threw over 10 yards, which is a lot, were dangerous throws. That means they could have been picked off. Against Houston, he just, and I think some of this is and somebody brought up an interesting point. Is he David Klingler? Because it's a similar, like the run and shoot, like throw the ball all over the place and put up 500 yards and gain headlines and AP voters. And I agree, AP voters watch SportsCenter and they want to see balls go deep. And
They want to see home runs, bro.
They want to see home runs. Chicks dig the long ball. Totally agree. 100%. And again, I think Texas Tech is, and this is the problem. Texas Tech is legitimately good. That is a good football team.
Yeah, the issue is again, and if you want to say it's BYU, that's fine. Whoever we want to say is the number 2 team in the conference. The bigger issue is that there's only really 1-2 teams in the conference that are competing for a CFP spot. That's
Correct.
The issue. And I hate it. Like, legitimately, I hate it. I hate that like the Iowa State Cincinnati game is totally unacceptable out of Iowa State, just from the sense of like, who you are, what you're supposed to do this year, the expectations. Like, I don't care how many injuries you have, dude. Like, it's not good enough. And you didn't lose that game by a field goal. You got dominated in that game. And it's bothersome. And so it's like, all right, well, I guess we'll just see Iowa State down the road. We can stop talking about them for a couple of weeks until they bounce back. And then, it's like, all right, well, am I really supposed to believe in BYU? Okay, you've got a great defense. Jack Kelly will be back at some point, hopefully sooner rather than later. And the question is, do I believe that BYU can win out or be a one-loss team as the only other 5-0 team in this conference?
Oh,
no,
man.
I don't.
Yeah,
no,
that's
I don't.
tough. That's
I
tough.
don't. I think
that's tough.
I think there's a better chance that Tech is a one-loss team at the end of the year and wins the conference, and that BYU, once again, because again, we can put up the AP top 25. Look at where BYU is right now.
Yeah.
You tell me they lose one game, like, that's the problem.
But I think, and this is why I bring it back. And I guess the question I would ask you is, who do you think is the best quarterback in the conference?
I mean, that's really tough, bro. That's really tough. I mean, obviously, Barron's looked really good, for the most part. He didn't perform, in the Utah game. You look across the conference. I mean, yeah, I guess Bear Bachmeier's looked good. I mean, I would have told you that I really liked what I had seen from Josh Hoover coming into the conference, or coming into conference play. But I again, I mean, even them, like, I know that they're 4-1, but it's not like they've instilled a ton of confidence, right? And then, of course, I get to retread the Devin Dampier take, dude. Like, it's really frustrating that Dampier looks amazing against average-ass competition, and then against Tech, it was like, all right, we're playing a good defense. I'm just going to run around, do the best I can, throw the ball up, throw it to the other team, and, not do what we should do. So, unfortunately, even with Baron Morton's shortcomings, yeah, he's probably the best quarterback in the conference at this time. Bear Bachmeier's probably number 2.
No.
And you can't sit here and say that you think they're the number 2 team in the conference and then say, what, Sam Levitt's the second best quarterback? Or
I think
Josh Hoover?
I think, man, if I had to pick one quarterback to win me a game, this is probably not going to be popular. I think
you better not say dude at Baylor, dude. That's not come in here with him.
Sawyer Robertson is probably the guy I'm going with.
Why?
Because he's fucking elite. The guy is really good. And I know it's not popular. But you look at his numbers. I mean, the guy is just really good. I wish he was more accurate. He's only 64%, but he's already, doesn't he have he's already got 19 touchdowns. He's got 2,058 yards, 19 scores, and 4 interceptions. He is elite. He is really, really good. I think he is, in my opinion, he is probably the best. He is probably the best quarterback in the Big 12. And I think the more I watch of Josh Hoover, this is going to be unpopular again. The more I watch of Josh Hoover, the less I like of Josh Hoover. And I know that again, I know we're huge in Dallas. I know Texas we have a huge fan base in Texas. I'm just trying to give you my opinion. Don't lose your mind. I think that Sawyer Robertson is significantly better than Josh Hoover. And I think if I had to really look beyond those names, Bear Bachmeier wouldn't be in the top half of the conference for me. I think names like Rocco Becht is significantly better than Bear Bachmeier. I think Jalen Daniels, Brendan Sorsby at Cincinnati that nobody talks about. Noah Fafita. I think Noah Fafita is having one of the best years of his career. Very quietly under the radar. He's gotten significantly better. I think Barron's better than Bear Bachmeier, just on age, experience, reps. But I think, you look at the rest of this league, Sam Leavitt is what I told you he was. Sam Leavitt's an average-ass quarterback, a thrower of the football. Leader, phenomenal. Leverage throw in the pocket, I'm not going with Sam Leavitt. I'm going with Sawyer Robertson. I think he's the best quarterback in this league. And again, I'm not trying to win friends in fake Curry favor, but I think it's Sawyer Robertson. I think when I get into the minutia of it, and you really get into the tape and the statistics and some of the deeper analytics on it, his win probability, his win rate on his throws are, he's fantastic. He's really good. But I also go back to the question of who's the best quarterback in college football. Because if you want to find me a guy that's playing better football than Ty Simpson right now, I will challenge you. I will fight you. I will Mark Sanchez that ass. Because I want to...
Buddy's got like 800 felony counts getting announced today, and you're out here making stabbing references.
Too late. The point is...
Yeah, for a dude that got stabbed in the face, it probably is. Yeah.
Did you see the pictures of that, you guys?
And no, we're not showing the video or the pictures.
Don't get stabbed. It looks like it hurts. My point is, Ty Simpson's the best quarterback in the country. I have not seen, when I look at, like, who would even be second in the Heisman race right now?
Dante Moore.
Ty Simpson is a better pure pocket passer than Dante Moore.
No doubt about it. I don't even disagree.
Now, impacting a game, inflicting their will, Dante Moore probably.
I think it's close, bro. I think it's one of the closest races we've had in a while.
But the thing about Ty Simpson is he's got superior talent. He's got much better skill position players than Dante Moore does. But yeah, I mean, you take the other quarterbacks even in this conversation. It's not close.
Mateer still win it if he comes back.
No, Ty Simpson is going to have big game after big game after big game.
Yeah. And
he's going to be on national TV. And it sucks for John Mateer because the guy absolutely was. He's not a sexy quarterback, right?
In terms of how he plays, or what do you mean by that?
Well, he's hung like a goalpost, so not from. Anyway, the point is, he's not a pretty quarterback.
You measure it?
And he's not 7-step, boom, balls out, 4 steps. But like, it's not John Mateer, right? Not John Mateer. But when I look at Ty Simpson, it's everything you've ever wanted. He is so gosh darn good. Complete. This is, and I want you guys to understand, this is not, everybody keeps thinking this kid's a freshman. He's a junior. Yet he has no experience. and you start looking at some of his numbers, he doesn't understand he's completed 70% of his passes. Well, Monty, he hasn't played anybody. Oh,
That's
really?
not true. That's not true.
Florida State, Louisiana, Monroe, Wisco, Georgia, Vanderbilt. He's 23 of 31, 342 scores and a pick against Vandy. He completed 74% of his passes.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think that the Ty
Wild.
Simpson story is a yellow brick road for high school quarterbacks who want to go to the NFL. Go to a great program, right? Go to Alabama, go to Georgia, go to LSU, go to Ohio State, right? Go to the quarterback factories in college football.
Yes.
Be patient, right? Learn the system, right? Because when you go to a good program or one of the best programs, typically you're not going to have to worry about changes at the head coaching position. You're not going to have to worry about, those major rock the boat, totally alter the course of your college career type moves in the portal. So go to a great program, invest in the program. Don't be after it for the money initially, right? Invest yourself in the scheme, invest yourself in the system. And then what have we seen with Ty Simpson? To your point, hey, got off to a little bit of a slow start, right? Obviously, the Florida State game was not a great performance by him or anybody else on that team, but got off to a slow start. And after he got accustomed to the speed of the game, now what are we seeing? Well, hey, now that he's used to the speed of the game, now he can really play. So you're seeing against, I haven't heard from Vanderbilt guy today, but, when you play Vanderbilt, that completion percentage is going to be pretty high because Vanderbilt is a second to third cut SEC team, and when you play Georgia, you're good enough to go out there and battle and put your guys in positions to go and win the game, even when Georgia gives you everything that they have. So I just think that I love what I see from Ty Simpson. I love the way he plays the game. It's so refreshing to see a quarterback who's not winning games by just running all over the place, who's actually, hey, read the defense, pocket passer, deliver the football in time and space. Like, that's an art form to me, and he's done a great job. I think that I would love to see an Oregon-Bama matchup. I would love to see these two go at it in the CFP if we were lucky enough. That would be absolutely phenomenal, but who knows? I also think that the SEC didn't exactly have a great weekend overall, right? I mean, we obviously have to talk about the Florida game, right? Obviously.
We'll get there.
But I just think that when you look at college football, there are guys who are patient and are willing to learn the system and are willing to invest and really build value inside mentally, and they're typically rewarded for that. And I think he's that guy.
Yeah, that's tough. I think when we look at how all of this plays and you start understanding, this idea that the Heisman is tough, because I also think that when I look at the Heisman, we didn't get a Trinidad Chambliss this weekend, and I thought Ruben Bain was stupidly awesome. Like, I think Ruben Bain absolutely belongs in the conversation for the Heisman Trophy. And I think he was unbelievable again. And Miami is legitimate, and Miami belongs in the conversation of the best team in the country. And I think the offense was not the story for the Canes, outside of one player who we're going to talk about in a minute. This defense in Miami is really good. They've gotten better every week. Ruben Bain has figured out what his job is, and that is to just mess your stuff up and be disruptive. And I think he's wonderful at it. He's an artist at being absolutely chaotic and just disruptive. And I love watching him play football. He's not going to win it because there's a stack of quarterbacks ahead of him. Mm-hmm. But Ruben Bain and the Miami Hurricanes defense deserve all the credit, because I think that they continue to be the reason that Miami is good. Because I'll again say that Carson Beck is just a good quarterback. He will not generally kill you. He's going to throw interceptions, but he's really good at throwing fly balls and putting it in a position where his guy, and he knows his guys are faster, especially Malachi Toney. He knows his guys are faster, and he's putting it out there. And I think that's why they won this weekend. And I think if he can continue to play that style of football, Miami's going to have a tough time losing a game. Because you look at the way that Malachi Toney plays football. Next year, I think he's going to be the best wide receiver in the country, even though he's 3 feet tall. And even though he was in Alice in Wonderland and, the Wizard of Oz, and I can't think of any other short people, I can't think of any other short people things to mention, but,
little guy.
Malachi Toney's a legitimate performer, and he deserves all the credit that he's getting. And I think that he and Bain are the reason this team is special.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, it's just a tough cover, and I think that the other thing Miami has is they're very physical. They like being physical. They like leaning on you. They like beating you up. And they like physically, dominating you. And I think that, it's really interesting, watching them operate. They're not an offense that is just like, dude, like we're spread offense, just bombing it down the field constantly. But I agree. Carson Beck is really good at just laying it out there for sure. And I'm not going to hold that against him. Listen, there are a lot of guys who can't throw the deep ball well, right? A lot of guys that can't seem to connect with their receiver 50 yards down the field. But Carson Beck seemingly figured it out. And, I think the formula to beating Miami is to, not let them get over the top. If you got to keep everything in front of you, you keep everything in front of you, you're going to be in a better spot, and nobody has been able to do that yet. Miami's the best team in Florida right now. There's no question about it. You've beaten Florida. You've beaten Florida State. Not like you're the best team in that state now. And yeah, I mean, I think that, if I'm matchmaking in the CFP, I need to see Oregon versus one of these top 3 teams, right? We either need to see Oregon and Miami, Oregon or Bama, or we need to see Ohio State and Miami. We need to see those couple of matchups in the CFP one way or the other when you're creating the rankings. And I just think the only question left for Miami is what is Carson Beck against that quality of defense, right? Like I like Florida State a lot, but the reality is Oregon's defense is better. Ohio State's defense is better, more disciplined, more physical, more capable. So that'll just be the question. But I think Miami deserves a ton of credit. That's not an easy place to go and play. We were texting about this. Like, I know it was only 28-22, but I kind of felt like it was a very much like, hey, we're going to handle our business. We will find a way to win this game. It didn't really feel like you were ever like panic mode in this game at all. You definitely let your foot off the gas late in the game, clearly, but you found you held on. So it is what it is.
I just want to understand. Mario Cristobal wants to blow his own feet off, and I'll never understand it. I mean, allowing Carson Beck to get anywhere near 30 throws is a dereliction of duty. I mean, when you have the lead and you give up 19 points in the fourth quarter, bro, I don't have no idea why you would put yourself in that position. I want to understand it. I don't. That Mark Fletcher only had 12 carries is wild to me. That you only ran the ball 32 times, and one of those they ran the ball 32 times for less than 100 yards, and one of those was a 22-yard run by Keelan Marion. And it makes me crazy that you won't commit to running the ball when I think you have an offensive line who can lean on dudes, and you have running backs that are absolutely capable. I'd love to see them commit to running the ball 35, 36, 37 times.
Yeah, especially when you're ahead. I mean, I agree
Yeah.
with that. Why are you throwing it so much? I mean, I understand, again, 20 of 27, 241, 4 tutties. That's great. That's awesome for Carson Beck. Then your offense and Malachi Toney, great. Good job, bud. 2 TDs, right? Like, awesome night. But I don't know, man. I just think that, again, that's a good win. You're in a good place, but you're never going to be 28-3 heading to the fourth quarter against Ohio State or Bama or Oregon.
Yeah,
or
Florida
any team in
State's
the
an
CFP.
incredibly flawed team.
Yeah.
I mean, they're
So, like,
incredibly flawed.
So now what we get to do is we get to look at the rest of the schedule and we say, okay, Louisville will give you a good game. Louisville's got a lot of fight in them. They'll give you a good game, but you should beat them. And it's downhill from there, right? Stanford, SMU, Syracuse, NC State, Virginia Tech, and Pitt. You should be undefeated, bro. It's that simple. You should be undefeated, auto bid in, and high seed.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be really interesting to see how Miami finishes the year up. I don't trust Mario Cristobal at all, and I feel like that's a defense that's got more than enough horses to win games. I really do. It's incredible to me that you didn't run the ball more against that Florida State defense. It schematically was terrified to give up big runs. And so, and this, I guess this goes back to Carson Beck to a certain extent. Like, Carson Beck is facing a defense who was happy to let him throw the ball. It was clear Florida State's game plan was let Carson Beck beat us. And I don't know that I would say Carson Beck beat you, but those wide receivers
burned your ass.
You look at some of the coverage against Miami's wide receiver. Like, I don't know how you don't bracket Malachi Toney. He's faster than every one of your guys. And they just let him operate in a zone and in space, and he yacked all over their faces, dude.
I don't know how, as a defense, you're like, yeah, dude, like, we're playing Miami. Yeah, our biggest fear of playing Miami is the run game. No, dude. Like, the biggest thing that Miami does well is goes over the top. They take shots, and they take shots consistently. Like,
I don't know that I would say their biggest fear was getting run on. I don't think that was the case, because you saw, I mean, they had 5-6 guys at the line, no question about it. They were walking guys up to the line of scrimmage. And I think that was a pretty regular occurrence. But they at the end of the day, they sent 4 and blitzed 1 on a pretty regular basis, Florida State. And the difference was, could not stay with Malachi Toney. I cannot tell you how many throws Malachi Toney had where he was just stopping. Like, there's one where he runs that ball from the right hash to the left corner of the end zone. He just stopped at like the 7-yard mark, caught the football, and then just ran up the field. It's just really bad zone defense out of Florida State. So it's not like they sent the entire, department after him, but they had 5 guys go into the backfield pretty regularly. But I don't know. Mario Cristobal terrifies me. I don't like his thought processes. I don't like, some of the Florida State half. Like the Malachi Toney touchdown, and I just want to make sure I get this right. The Malachi Toney touchdown in the first half, second quarter, 2nd and 8, 14-3 Miami. Like, you didn't send anybody. They had 3 guys rushing the quarterback and a blitzer, and pulled the blitzer off, and Malachi Toney is wide open in the left flat. Like, just nobody went with him. Well, what were you looking at?
Not Toney.
What is Florida State even trying to accomplish? If you're only going to send 3 guys, you walked up a blitzer, he took a step in and then faded back, sprinted backward. So you're rushing 3. You've got 2 guys coming out of the backfield wide open, and Malachi Tony is they just give up on, he's standing on the 50-yard, like literally on the Florida State emblem at the 50-yard line. And he just runs and he's wide open. How is Malachi Tony wide open at any point in your defensive scheme? And it wasn't once or twice. It was like 4 or 5 times.
And so
I'll never understand it.
That's my point, is that I understand why a zone scheme against Miami and Tony might be attractive in theory. But the problem is he's very slippery. He is very difficult to cover in a zone concept because of how fast he is, right? Like, you're asking guys to make decisions on, hey, well, Malachi Tony's running through the freaking middle of the field. Hey, should I take him or should I let him go? How far is he going to run? Who should pick him up? Like, you're asking for trouble, whereas if you just play man on Tony and you would just bracket him, you're taking away that option, which means you're now essentially playing, 9 on, 4, basically, to take the offensive line out of it. Like, you're playing, I guess, if you want to take the lineman out of it, you're basically playing 4 on 3 at that point. And that's what I didn't understand is, like, dude, like, even if you just look at like the first quarter, if you look at how the first quarter went for you, it was 7-3 after the first quarter. Hey, dude, you gave up 1 touchdown, totally in the game. Everything's cool. Like, you're in position, you can totally win this game still. It's not out of hand. But then you don't score in the second quarter. Right there should have told you we're down 14-3 at the half. We can't let them score anymore. But no, we're not going to adjust. We're not going to adjust. We're just going to keep playing this zone concept that we're not running well. We're going to allow him to continue to run right through the middle of the field, right up the sideline. Carson will just keep laying it out there for him, and we're just going to let that go. It's 28-3 going to the fourth, and they took their foot off the gas, and that's why I finished 28-22.
I would agree with that. And just watching some of the Malachi Tony plays, I mean,
there's nobody on him. There's no discipline with it. Like, I understand why, you want to run zone against, a lesser offense, right? You want to run zone against, whatever lesser offense you want to point to. I'm all good with that. But zone can't keep up with speed. That's why you don't see zone concepts against Tyreek Hill. You don't see zone concepts against Justin Jefferson, dude. Unless it can be executed at a really high level. And so, to me, coming out of this game, I wasn't like thoroughly blown away by Carson Beck's performance. Good performance, did what he had to do, did his damn job. Hey, no problem.
He's not, and again, it is what he's not a bad quarterback. He's just not a leverage guy. And Mario Cristobal terrifies me because he's got more than enough talent. It's the same thing I said about Texas Tech. The talent, the pieces are on the field, make the stew, and Mario ain't the chef. That's what I really worry about. And it was a wildly entertaining game. That was fantastic. And then there's Texas. And before we get to your comments, and I know I've been pontificating, I don't even know what you do with Texas. Arch Manning was awful. This is a situation where there's nowhere to hide anymore. And Arch can sit up there and say, I'm ready, or you're ready, or we're ready, or you're 3-2 and 0-1 in the conference, and it's because of Arch Manning. And it's time to stop talking about Texas as an elite team or a playoff team until Arch Manning pulls his head out of his ass. Because the 2 interceptions he threw were tragically horrendous. And I don't know what you do. Because the other thing that nobody's talking about is Texas can't run the football. And that's why Arch Manning is struggling so much. You have built an offense that is 100% predicated on Arch Manning throwing the football well, and you ran the ball 26 times and he had 15 of those. and you don't have a running back that has any measurable stats coming out of that game. And I don't care if you're behind, you cannot have Arch Manning throw the ball 29 times and run it 15 times and think you're going to beat anybody. Because in Florida fan, you're probably going to hate me saying it. Obviously, this was DJ Lagway's best performance of his Florida career.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, this was a shockingly vanilla Florida offense. And if DJ Lagway doesn't make a couple of crazy plays, I don't know how else to say it other than the outcome of this game was 100% represented by Arch Manning's play, which was not good at all. And again, I've spent a lot of time buying into Arch Manning. Well, those days are over, because the Arch Manning that I saw in Florida is not ready to play big time college football. And I just don't know how you explain this away anymore.
I mean, there's no way around that. He's just not picking it up fast enough. I think that, with Arch, I think he has talent. I don't think it's a talent issue. I really do think it's an application issue. I think that the guy just doesn't, he's unable currently to, he either doesn't trust what he sees, which I think is pretty apparent. He doesn't trust what he sees. And then furthermore, I don't think that he's able to process fast enough. Hey, we last week, we talked a lot about how he's not running the play the way it's designed to be run, right? Which would be an indicator of, hey, you don't trust what you see, and you're not, maybe you don't have a great grip on what the play is, the little minutia details as a quarterback that you're supposed to be doing to make this play work the correct way. So that's why I'm saying I don't think that it just switched overnight to where Sark can't develop guys. I think we've seen Sark develop a ton of guys,
No, but and one of the things I think you have to understand is their offensive line is not good. And one of the things that worries you is the physical beating that Arch Manning's taking. And you can say I'm making an excuse. Okay, call it what you want. The physical beating that Arch Manning's taking, he does not make it through the season. And maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. But he will not survive physically if he continues to take, because he's not getting knocked down. He's taking savage hits. And I mean, shoulder pads in the solar plexus, helmets in the rib cage, body slamming. He is running for his life, which I think is part of the problem, because the interception that I think really stands out is where he's throwing the football in less than two. I think it was a 2.3 pop, and he just lets it go. And the wide receiver isn't even looking for the football. It's a square in, and it's 3 yards in front of the wide receiver, and it goes right to the safety. And it's just a really bad look. It's a really bad look, and it is a leverage situation in the fourth quarter where he then is forced to throw a ball all the way down the sideline because you're down 2 scores, and the safety is just sitting on the route, and the safety comes over and intercepts the ball. They're just bad throws. They're balls that should not be thrown. And if you're going to throw the second one down 2 scores, that ball's got to go way down the field. And it just didn't go down the field. And the problem is they're not running the football. He is in solo gun and there's just no way to win those battles if the ball is not perfectly thrown.
So
and on top of that, he's taken a beating. So I don't think his mind is where it needs to be. I just think that this is going to be really hard to reset for Texas in this season.
Well, that's the thing. So I think that's the question that is really front and center for Texas. Arch to me is the easy button if you want to hate on Texas, but I think when you look at them as a team, I just don't think it's not very connected football. It's not, you watch them and it's just kind of all over the place. And that's what I don't quite understand, how this has happened under Arch, because you had such a good flow last year. and that's why you went to the CFP and Quinn Ewers had you in good positions.
You also had one of the best offensive lines in the country.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess my point so we're just saying that this is, yes, Arch has issues, obviously, but we're saying that this is a talent disparity and that's why it's not happening.
I think this is Arch Manning is not good enough as a quarterback to overcome the larger issues that Texas is facing offensively. It's keeping their defense on the field far too much. The defense is getting exposed. And I think the real issue is the offensive line is not good. They can't run inside, which is a huge problem in this league. And Arch Manning's not good enough to overcome those problems. And because they've got all kinds of talent. And he's got skill position guys. And I think they're not good enough to overcome. This offensive line's got to get markedly better, and I don't know how you do that. Honest to God, I don't know how you fix the problems with this offensive line. I mean, we saw it against Ohio State, and I think we all thought, hey, this is just Ohio State's defense is elite. They are. That's not what it was.
Ohio State.
This offensive line is bad. And I think when you look at it, and I know most people don't agree with me on it, I think this offensive line is killing them. I think it is. Everybody wants to point to Arch Manning, and everybody's looking at Arch Manning. Bro, I was looking at the Getty images from this game, the still photography, and it's brutal to look at. And I continue to tell people, and I meant to put this one in, and it's a little late, so forgive me. But I continue to tell people that Arch Manning, he's a wildly talented quarterback, and I have no doubt that he will be significantly better a year from now than he is right now. But under one condition. Sark fixes the offensive line and the offensive line issues, because this picture right here, look where his arm is. If your arm is there, where's the football?
Up in the air, getting picked off.
Well, yeah, and it just left your hand. And you look at the helmet into the ribs. This is the exact photo and there's probably 6 or 7 of these from this game alone. And you look at the physical beating he is taking, their inability to run the football, and his lack of ability to overcome those things. I don't think it's rocket science. And again, I'm happy to die on the island by myself. Their offensive line is killing this team.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think that's a crazy take. I mean, I think that, the Arch gets so much hate just because of the hype preseason, and that's not Arch's fault. I think that, he's always said hey, I need to go out there and prove it. I think Arch is, documented on the record saying multiple times that, he's a pretty humble guy and he knows he needs to go out and prove it. But I don't know. I just think it's really interesting in college football now that a team like Texas can do what they did last year. And then it's just flipped. You're just not able to make the plays you need to make. And the hard part is too, even with all of this at play, it's still an 8-point loss. It's not a 20-point loss. You know?
That's what's frustrating is you're a possession or two away from being undefeated. But it's not surprising the offensive line is bad. You graduated one of the best tackles you've ever had. You put multiple guys in the NFL. And you assume that Quinn Ewers was holding Texas back. Well, Quinn Ewers was good enough to overcome whatever issues they had. Arch Manning is not. And I think the single biggest issue in the SEC right now is how do you justify Texas as a quality opponent now? Because Texas has Oklahoma on Saturday in the Red River Shootout. Kentucky, Mississippi State, Vanderbilt, Georgia, Arkansas, and Texas A&M. Those are big games for this conference. And if Texas is outside the top 25, if they're outside the top 40, which if they lose to Oklahoma, they'll be outside the top 40. If Texas is outside the top 40, you're in real trouble here. And I think Texas, there's a real chance that Texas is going to fall outside the top 40 if they don't beat Oklahoma. And I love the fight that I saw from Oklahoma this weekend, and I thought Michael Hawkins represented himself very well. Now, it was Kent State. But I thought Michael Hawkins showed an understanding and a grasp on the offense. And I thought he showed enough to tell you, hey, I know where the ball's supposed to go. I understand that. Okay, great. He's not John Mateer. And if you lose to this Oklahoma team, all bets are off. This top 40. This team might be out of the top 50 if they lose to this incarnation of Oklahoma. And I think if that's the case, the SEC is going to struggle, at the end of the day to make the hey, 7 teams in the college football playoff argument, which so many people are trying to make. I mean, obviously, it right now,
you have 9 right now in the top 25.
That's right. You have 9 in the top 25 right now.
Mm-hmm.
But if we really get into the numbers, right? My guess is that Oklahoma, Alabama, Ole Miss, Missouri, Georgia, and maybe Tennessee, those 6 teams, depending on where, because Oklahoma is going to have to keep winning games without John Mateer for this to become true. But this is where I go back to Texas A&M. Texas A&M, I think, is a really important ball club to the SEC. And I think if Texas A&M, and I look at where are they at now, like 5th? Texas A&M is 5th in the country without a quality win. So if we go Florida beating Texas, if Texas stays inside the top 40, that's a good win for Florida. So if you beat Florida, Florida beat Texas, and then you beat Florida, and that's a good win. But if Texas keeps falling, by the time we get to the CFP committee playoff room where they're selecting, that's not going to look like such a big win. Because you've got Arkansas, Garbo, LSU, another huge team for the SEC. Because right now LSU's on the outside looking in, right? But they've got South Carolina at Vandy, Texas A&M at Alabama, Arkansas, Western Kentucky, and they finish with Oklahoma. So not all these teams are going to keep winning games. And if Texas, and I think Texas is really paramount, if Texas does not continue to win games as this season goes on, I think the SEC might only be looking at 4. And that would be a stunning turn of events.
Well, I mean, the Big Ten losing helps them, right? I mean, I think Penn State not being in the equation anymore helps them a lot. No question about it. And I think when you look at the ACC, obviously Miami's going to be in, obviously. I think Florida State's fighting for its life. Good luck.
Florida State won't get in.
Yeah, I don't think you're getting in there. And then Clemson, good luck.
Clemson's not getting in.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, when we're sitting here talking about, how many the SEC is going to get in, they do happen to be in a year where the mix, is nice, right? The Big 12 is probably only getting 1 in. Let's be honest. Maybe 2 at most in a perfect world scenario.
They're getting 2 in. They're going to get, I still maintain that Texas Tech and Utah will get in. I think they'll get in.
Well, yeah.
And maybe Arizona State.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't believe that. I think Tech is the only one that's guaranteed to get in because I think they'll win the conference.
Well, nobody's guaranteed to get in. I think you're going to get your conference champion in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you're going to get one more in. Because I think Arizona State's playing good football. It's stunning that Iowa State lost that game. That is stunning that you lost that game. That is unthinkable. Anyway, my point is, you want to talk about the ACC. How does Florida State get back into it? Because Florida State, if you look at Florida State, and I think this is a huge question mark, now that you have lost to Virginia and Miami back to back, you have one quality win. It's Alabama. But now you play Pitt, at Stanford, Wake, at Clemson, Virginia Tech, NC State, and Florida. Do you have a get-back game? Well, if Florida keeps going and Texas finds a way to turn things around, beating Florida would be a quality win. Right? But I don't have any confidence that Florida is going to keep going. I really do not. I don't think Florida State has a way back in. I'm very curious. When do we figure out what on earth is going on? When do we figure out what on earth is going on with Charlottesville and the University of Virginia? Because Virginia has beaten Coastal, William and Mary, Stanford, Florida State, and Louisville. And they're 5-1 and sitting on top of the ACC right now. As is Duke at 3-0 with Virginia Tech. Georgia Tech 2-0. Miami's only played one conference game. And SMU's played one conference game, but SMU's 3-2. So my question is, Virginia doesn't really play anybody. Virginia plays Washington State. Virginia plays North Carolina and Cal, Wake Forest at Duke, Virginia Tech.
Yeah, but I know you like Cal, right?
No, not anymore. California, they're 4-2, and they've lost 2 of 3 to San Diego State and Duke. Well, thank God they beat Boston College in between. I honestly, the strength of schedule in the ACC is so bad that I think you're going to struggle to get multiple teams in.
Yeah, I think the problem so Virginia's going to have to go undefeated to get into the CFP, right?
I would
agree. You have to
agree.
go undefeated and win the conference to get into the CFP. You're not
Which
going
is
to
going to be tough.
You're not going to get into the CFP with an at-large bid. That's not happening. Nobody respects you to that level. You're going to have to, you're going to have to beat teams convincingly, which, again, I don't know. I'm not that concerned about Virginia. It's a nice story. You're going to have to keep winning games.
But they're going to win games because they don't play anybody. That's my point. If Virginia goes undefeated, goes to the ACC championship game and loses, do they get in the college football playoff?
No.
I'm going to say they probably don't.
No. You're not getting in over a 2-loss SEC team,
which would be crazy.
It's perception. It's perception and reputation. I mean, it's just as easy. Again, I can sit here and I can say, okay, cool. Well, all right. So we've got a 1-loss Virginia team who lost in their conference championship, and we're Tennessee or Virginia. Well, you're putting Tennessee in, I think, right?
What about Georgia Tech? Undefeated Georgia Tech that's got wins over Colorado, Clemson, Wake Forest. And they at least get Georgia to end the year. I mean, if Georgia Tech goes undefeated, Georgia Tech's getting in because they would beat Georgia. But I don't think they're going undefeated.
No.
But
that's what I'm saying. In an end-of-season scenario, when you're putting together your final your first round CFP matchups, right? Your final ranking before the CFP starts that decides the matchups. If Virginia's what would they be, a 2-loss team at that point? Is that right?
Virginia, if they lose a conference championship game, yeah, because they lost to NC State.
Yeah. So at that point, you're a 2-loss team. If you lose in the conference championship game to Miami, and you're looking at, let's see, again, you're looking at, like Vandy. Vandy's a good example. Let's say Vandy goes ham and is a 2-loss team at the end of the year. I mean, Virginia doesn't have a way to justify their position being in the CFP.
Man, the junk that Virginia or that Vanderbilt talked leading up to that game, and then they got smoked.
Yeah. So
physically beaten by Alabama. Alabama Like, what did that win mean to you for Alabama? Like, how did that win?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those wins. I'll reiterate what I said Friday, right? I mean, what did I say Friday? I said Friday that if you beat Vanderbilt convincingly, if you make it a game where nobody's concerned about you winning the game, you dominate them, you handle your business, okay. Now I don't need to be concerned about this team anymore. I don't need to be concerned about culture issues. I don't need to be concerned about whether you understand that.
Fire Kalen DeBoer.
Yeah, well, I mean, again, you lose to Florida State like that, and you do what you did before that game. I am going to talk about it because it's terrible. I mean, it's just a terrible look. But now, what have you done?
Dominated.
You ripped off 4 in a row, right? You got 4 in a row here. You should beat Missouri. That's road game, but you should beat them. And then you've got Tennessee. I mean, you're in a good spot here.
But don't let down, dude.
Right.
And that's
I understand.
But again, I think this is the antithesis of Texas.
Mm-hmm.
He's got unbelievable weapons at Alabama. And Ty Simpson is really good.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is. It's him and Dante Moore. And I think Alabama wins a lot of games down the stretch. Wins a lot of games down the stretch. And what are they? 4-1, 2-0 in the conference.
Yeah.
They win a lot of games down the stretch because they're going to be favored in every game. Because I think their schedule heretofore is pretty friendly. If you look at Missouri in Columbia, Tennessee.
Early game though.
Yeah, it's like noon Eastern.
Yeah.
11 Central. Tennessee at South Carolina, LSU, Oklahoma, Eastern Illinois, Iron Bowl.
Yeah.
They should run that out. And at that point, you're probably running into, and here we go back to Lane Train with Chambliss.
Yep.
Now LSU's a good win. And I think
for Ole Miss.
LSU's a good win.
Yeah.
Trinidad Chambliss is a good story. I don't care how you slice it. Senior getting his shot, kicking ass. But how many tough opponents have they played? LSU, and they won. But now they're Washington State, at Georgia, at Oklahoma, South Carolina, the Citadel, Florida, at Mississippi State. We're gonna figure out their season in the next month.
Do I get to say that there's 2 losses there? Because it looks to me there are.
If you want to be stupid, you can. But
they're going to lose to Georgia, and then I would not be surprised if they lost to Florida at the end of the year. Wouldn't be surprised. Physical game, prove it game. Definitely a lot of pride in the line in that game.
Georgia at Alabama, at Auburn, Ole Miss, Florida, Mississippi State, Texas, Charlotte, Georgia Tech. You understand that?
Yeah.
You understand that Georgia leaves home twice. Is that right? Georgia leaves home twice in the next 7 weeks.
Good luck.
That's it. Georgia goes to Auburn this weekend.
Which is not a big trip, not a long trip.
Not at all. Ole Miss. Well, it's never even that they're a long trip. It's what's the environment? And I don't think any of us have a real pulse on what Auburn is right now besides not good. They're 3-2 and 0-2 in the league. But at Auburn, Ole Miss, Florida, at Mississippi State. Right? So you go to Starkville. Texas, Charlotte, Georgia Tech to end the year.
Ole Miss is the best game left on their schedule. I'm sorry. It just is. Like,
it's a huge game.
Yeah. So, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm sitting here looking at Ole Miss's schedule, and I'm like, all right, like, you're definitely going to get Georgia's best in that game. No question about it. So let's just presume you lose to Georgia. And that's it. You're a one-loss Ole Miss team. You're definitively in the CFP. No question about it. Like, you're in. So that's why I say, like, my problem is, and again, we'll see how it plays out in the Big 12, but let's just presume it's one from the Big 12 and one from the ACC. Because the only way the ACC is getting 2 in is if Miami loses in the championship game, in my opinion. That's the only way.
Which they're not going to do.
Which I don't think they're going to do, right? So one from the ACC, one from the Big 12, 7 from the SEC, and then Oregon and the.
I love Bain. That defense is not going to lose in a championship game. I'm probably too much into it. All right, let's get some of your thoughts. I know I should probably shut up now, but it is what it is. I'm eating Italian watching now. Where's the Italian? Okay. Don't forget Georgia Tech. Well, Haynes King is a dog, dude. I wish he was our.
Don't. Be happy with your boy. Just be happy with CJ Card is what it is.
But what
Next
happened?
comment.
I mean, we beat Boise.
Here,
We beat
let's
Boise.
see. Let me see. Yeah. Wow. Bro, man. Wow. Okay. All right.
Handily, we beat Boise.
Well, and that's what matters. Getting handsy with Boise. That's what matters,
Toot Gundy, late to the showgram, but ESPN FPI says ACC has Miami, Florida State, nobody else right now in the top 30. And I don't even think Florida State can stay in the top 30.
Yeah, that was a gift to have them there.
Only way ACC gets 2 in is if Miami loses in the championship game. I would agree with that. Speaking of which, Rock and Rant, good to see you, my friend. I think Miami and Georgia Tech are the only teams that can be undefeated and lose in the title game and make it. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, but see, the Georgia Tech thing is interesting because, theoretically, they should be able to get in. But again, we all know how this works. At the end of the year, if it's Georgia Tech, Miami, and Miami wins that game, and Georgia Tech is a one-loss team, bro, your resume doesn't say you should be in over 2-loss SEC team that's on the bubble. You have to win the conference if you're Georgia Tech. It's the only way. It's the only way.
Yeah, this league needs Miami to go. I think college football needs Miami to go.
I agree. And the question is, so if you've got one from the ACC, one from the Big 12, right? And then you've got 7 from the SEC, let's say, just perfect world scenario. That's 9 right there. And you've got 2 from the Big 10. Now we're at 11, and then the G5.
Yeah, I think that's interesting.
So all you Big 10 homers who were like, oh, the Big 10 or the SEC doesn't play anybody. We need all these seeds. Well, there you go. 9 conference games, 10 power opponents. What are you going to do?
Yeah,
That's
you punish, and this is a good point. The committee says they won't punish losers of championship games.
But you can't measure. So here's the deal. You can't measure oh, hey, they lost in their conference championship game. That damages how you look, dude.
Yeah.
You're playing for your conference title and you lost. You can't tell me that doesn't affect. If we're all sitting around a table, eating pizza, drinking whatever you want to drink, and we're like, yeah, hey, this team and this team played in the ACC championship game, and Miami beat them by 40, dude.
861 points.
That matters.
Yeah.
That absolutely matters. What do you mean it doesn't hurt them? Come on.
Well, because the committee says it won't. But Haynes King is a warrior, but he's the biggest, toughest, will fight you to the death China doll. Not sure he makes it through unscathed, but Georgia Tech backup is no joke. And he's another guy that takes a lot of hits.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. I love him. I think he's a dog. Hey, y'all. Hate week versus OU. Suck it, Texas fight.
Yeah. Shouty, I don't know that you want to watch that game.
Yeah, that offensive line, speaking of suck it.
Yeah.
Joey Harper Boy, what a weekend here in Seattle, Joseph. First of all, and I don't know that we're going to get to it, but Baco is a dog. Baker Mayfield taunting fans in the tunnel that were taunting him before the team ran out on the field against Seattle. And then he won the game and he came right back to that fan. That's my guy. I love that attitude. Notre Dame beat Boise about the same way South Florida beat Boise. Well, listen, CJ Carr, and I'm happy to say it, CJ Carr has improved. But let's stop with this idea that Notre Dame's one of the 12 best teams in the country.
Notre Dame, our mother.
Because they're not. And 16, okay, I'm probably fine with us being ranked 16th in the AP. But there's no question that CJ Carr has gotten significantly better. And there's no question that they have finally figured out how to run the football. And it in my opinion, you have to give Jeremiah Love more touches. Now, I'm just stupid old Monty. 16 carries for Jeremiah Love is not enough.
Timothy.
I'm not smart. Even Big Daddy Magic knows I'm dumb. But you can't only run the ball 24 times with Love and Price. We're not. That's not winning football. That's not winning football. And I understand that we're trying to get Fields and Faze on the ball more, but we got to throw the football. It can't be equal. And Price and Love have to get at least 30 opportunities between them. And I think if it's 30, it's 20 and 10. And I'm a little worried that Jeremiah Love isn't durable enough to do that. But
it's also like, I agree with that, but also to your point, like, injury mitigation probably matters. You don't want to overexpose your guys, when you're clearly going to win this game, so, Boise State didn't even score in the second half. Like, this one wasn't.
Well, when you're throwing at Leonard Moore, what the fuck do you think's going to happen? Like, did you not watch this defense? Throw at anybody but Leonard Moore. Like, breaking news, bud. Like, breaking news. Don't throw at Leonard Moore. It ends poorly.
No.
Like, no, I ain't talking Notre Dame. I'm not here for all of that.
Mm.
Nebraska, Steve, my beloved Chiefs and my beloved Huskers are back. Oh yeah, you're back. Your boy, Patrick Mahomes light. You were impressed with that. Do we really think Nebraska's back? Yeah, I'm going to say they're not.
That'd be America's team.
Big Daddy Magic. Timothy, I don't think you're dumb. I think you're a genius. Well, just because I'm not playing your game. Oh, Victor Wembanyama's lifted weights. Did you guys see that dunk on his own team? Holy cow.
Monty. Guys. He lifted all these weights, and now he's 287 pounds, and, man, he's just going to beat everyone up.
I do appreciate, though,
Victor's the way.
that the 3-4 of you hyenas who tagged me in that video on the old X machine and were like, Big Daddy Magic's coming for you, bud. I can't remember who it was, said, Big Daddy Magic's coming for you, ... bud.
Timothy.
The Victor Wembanyama dunking on some scrub on his own team video. Okay. That's fine. Rock and rant. NFL is thanking Notre Dame for reducing the wear and tear on their future first-round pick. It's criminal if you're a Notre Dame fan. Give him the ball. Marcus. Give him the ball.
Soft person tendency.
You have a rookie quarterback you guys, let's break some ground.
Guys.
This is a new way of thinking in football. You have an inexperienced rookie quarterback. You have not one, not two, 3 stud running backs. You're the best running back tandem in the country. You have a rookie quarterback. Are you ready? You ready? Turn around and hand off the football, Dick. Turn around, CJ, and give it to the best backfield in the country.
I want you to listen to me.
Did I mention that we also have 2 of the best blocking receivers and the best blocking tight end in the country?
I'm going to say this again.
Turn around and hand the football off.
Why would you do that when you can just throw it over the middle of the field and throw hospital balls? Why would you just hand it off? Come on.
I don't know football.
Well, you don't watch football. We've established.
Monty don't know ball.
Monty doesn't know ball,
But when you don't have a quarterback and we have the best backfield in the country.
He's a bum.
Oh, Marcus Freeman. Oh, my God. Monty, he's amazing. Flush it. Flush it. Flush it.
Take you a deuce. You don't sit there and look at it. You flush it.
Flush it, man.
Move on.
Just move on to next week when maybe we'll run the football more.
We keeping a buck right now. We ass.
I don't call the plays at Notre Dame. I just work here, man. And I was talking to a dude this morning who knows I'm a Notre Dame fan. Hey, Monty, want you to know I watched Rudy over the weekend. Hey, Monty. And this is a nice Southern gentleman, so I didn't go all F you. But he's like, hey, Monty, just want you to know I watched Rudy this weekend, that part. And my son doesn't even like football, and he wants to watch it again because that part where they all turn their jerseys in, which never happened. It's complete bullshit. That was so unbelievable. That says so much about how much the team respects him.
That's what fucking ticks me to fuck off.
Monty. It's almost like these guys don't know that there is fictional portions of the movie, or excuse me, of the film known as Rudy.
Film. I am amazed how many people are like, oh, Monty. The people who know I'm a Notre Dame fan always talk to me about Rudy. And it's like, do you know what a terrible film that is?
Well, Monty, it's a cinematic experience. Have to see it on IMAX again when it comes out.
Do you understand that half that movie never happened? But it's fine. You know what? I could be an Okie Light fan.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Yeah, thankfully I'm not. Fight on Natties. What's up? Why? Oklahoma can't? Okay. Can Notre Dame count to 10? No.
Nope.
No. Phil Venzer. Hello, Angry Phil. Yes. Can I just ask a quick question, Phil?
For a friend.
I'm not a smart man. I don't know ball. Who did you replace Geno Smith with that's been wearing his jersey lately?
Mika Big
I don't think that's Mika Big Boo. You guys. Bro. I am just... well, it's not true. I do get paid to talk football every day on this show.
Bro.
But the whole, my name Gronk, me love football, that whole thing that was on display this weekend, you want to see the living example of a meathead? Here it is.
You got to give credit to this rookie sensation wide receiver out of Ohio State.
First of all, you could tell he was in trouble. This rookie sensation out of... Drink more beer.
Push it off. Save me, Monty.
Out of Ohio State. He Enigma Wasp Rasputin.
You got to give credit to this rookie sensation wide receiver out of Ohio State, Emeka Egbegbue, going for over 100 yards. Emeka Egbuka.
Bro. And listen to how confident he is.
Emeka Egbegbue.
He is so confident with the delivery, bro.
Me, Rob Gronkowski, like a meek by a big boo.
Emeka Egbegbue.
He run good route. Me, Arizona educated.
Bro.
Emeka Egbegbue.
How? Where do you get
me
Big
not smart
Boo
man
from?
Me not smart man.
Like, dude, how? How is it this rough? Like, come on.
Me want more beer.
Emeka Egbegbue.
Me take big poop. Like, what? Dude, I could, having worked, so at ESPN, when I worked at ESPN, and you go and you prepare, like when you work at a network like Fox or CBS or ESPN, you actually prepare all the things that you say. The big buzzword when I was at ESPN was Tua Tagovailoa.
Yes.
I was on the radio with he who shall remain unnamed.
Emeka Egbegbue.
Tua Tagovailoa. Never to be heard from again. So I guess when you're Rob Gronkowski and you went Arizona educated, me like football, you can get away with saying somebody's name completely wrong.
Emeka Egbegbue.
Ho?
Bro.
It's amazing that do you know how difficult it is to get it this wrong?
Yeah, I mean,
Emeka Egbegbue.
I don't know. I don't know how. But see, the thing that I thought was so interesting was he instantly corrected himself the correct way. That's what I thought was hilarious.
And the other part that's hilarious is the other guys on the set wouldn't let it go.
You got to give credit to this rookie sensation wide receiver out of Ohio State, Emeka Egbegbue, going for over 100 yards. Emeka Egbuka.
Emeka Egbuka.
Egbuka.
Me say Gronkowski, you say Egbuka.
Emeka Egbegbue.
Egbegbue Gronkowski. Brother.
Bro. Like, come on, man.
I say Egbegbue, you say Gronkowski.
Apparently. Apparently.
Does this not play right into big, dumb football player guy?
He is a meathead. Bro,
right,
rough week.
But again, what do I always say about this guy? He has got more money than you will ever need. And how do I say it gently?
We keeping a buck right now, we ass.
How do I say it gently? This dude he is probably, what is a good example? He's got to be like a 24-inch sub at Mike and Ike's. Like he is.
In girth.
I'm honest to God, he's hung like my thigh. He gets all the hottest chicks.
Iraq.
Right. I can only imagine he is living the life.
Do we still have that clip? Rob Gronkowski or Miss Teen, South Carolina, giving her speech about maps in the Iraq.
Dude, did you get rid of that clip?
No. Where is it?
No, you didn't.
I personally believe that U.S. Americans are unable to do so because some people out there in our nation don't have that, and I believe that our education, like such as in South Africa and the Iraq, everywhere like such as, and I believe that they should, our education over here in the U.S. should help the U.S. or should help South Africa and should help the Iraq and the Asian countries.
Let's help the Iraq. Yeah, such as and stuff. And me like Gronkowski. And I was talking to Rob in the Iraq last night, and such as.
I don't quite know how to answer that, to be honest.
Rob taught me about the Iraq. He went to
Iraq.
Arizona. Rob Gronkowski went to Arizona.
Ye can't put the decimal point in the right portion of the number, costing you hundreds of millions of dollars. You know, that university.
Me like football.
Imika Egbegbu.
Bro.
In the Iraq.
Dude,
Such
I
as.
don't
Iraq.
I don't know how these people do this. Like, bro,
If
it's
he
not
was
that hard.
smashing, if he was smashing the Iraq.
The Iraq.
Dude.
The IQ on the baby spawn of me like Gronkowski and the Iraq. Oh, dude.
Bro.
I can't even imagine. I cannot. I mean, the meathead factor on that dude. And you can only hope it's a boy.
Imika Egbegbu.
Yeah, like you can only. Oh my God. That was, a very, very wealthy meathead. The Iraq, such as the South America. I mean, it is true. Just listen to how many times she says like such as.
I personally believe that U.S. Americans are unable to do so
What other
because
kind of
some people out there in our nation don't have maps, and I believe that our education, like such as in South Africa and the Iraq, everywhere like such as, and I believe that they should. Our education over here in the U.S. should help the U.S. Or should help South Africa and should help the Iraq and the Asian countries. So we
Imika Egbegbu.
Here in the U.S., our education, such as
the Iraq.
What the hell was she? Can somebody explain to me what was she trying to say? Have we ever figured out what she was trying to say?
I think the point was she was trying to say that U.S. Americans in classrooms need better maps to identify where the Iraq is on a map.
So we took the globes out of the classrooms, and that's why people are dumb.
I personally believe that U.S. Americans are unable to do so because some people out there in our nation don't have maps, and I believe that our education, like such as in South Africa and the Iraq, everywhere like such as, and
the Iraq. So people in our nation, such as the Iraq, Donnie cut the budget, so we can't afford globes anymore. So, little Robbie Gronkowski doesn't know where the Iraq is. I have no idea what she was trying to say.
All I'm saying is Gronk has put himself on the goated dumb moments on TV.
Oh, it's never going away.
You're never getting away from
Imika Egbegbu.
Yeah, good luck, dude. Good luck talking that one down, bro. I mean, I don't even think that his name is that hard, bro. Like, it's not that difficult.
I just think Rob is not smart. Boomer Sooner need to put the Iraq in all the maps now. Yeah, like Gulf of Canada.
the Iraq.
Toot Gundy, I personally believe that such as the Oak State. Yeah, where's Oak State James today? The Iraq.
Probably charting. No,
Iraq.
He and Dana Marie are working on finding the Iraq on globes.
He applied to the University of Arizona with Egbukbi.
Imika Egbegbu.
Joseph Harper. It sounds like she found Kamala's thesaurus. Could be. GTI Brandon, pretty sure the clip is during the Obama days. Must have been. Always fucking Obama's fault. Well, the Iraq is Obama's fault.
Always Obama.
Obama.
Barack Hussein Obama in his birth certificate because he was born in the Iraq.
Not an American citizen. He was born in Hawaii.
The Iraq.
Oh, my God.
U.S. Americans.
Did you guys see somebody in our government? Somebody said the president of the Virgin Islands. Never mind. And then Danica Patrick said foreigners shouldn't be performing the halftime show, allegedly, I think she said. And it should all be English. He's from Puerto Rico. It doesn't make him a foreigner.
Now,
I mean,
you want to have a discussion about U.S. Americans' tolerance for an all Spanish halftime show? That's something we can talk about.
But it's the U.S. Virgin Islands, sir. They don't
Listen, I know that Bad Bunny is not T Swift and her new album that allegedly is AI generated and copying a bunch of other songs that we've already heard before. I know that he's not her, but Bad Bunny globally is a huge artist and typically is top 3 on the streaming charts, which is exactly why the NFL is doing this, because they want to go global and that's their initiative.
But they want to go global in the Iraq, right?
Iraq.
Yes, correct. That's correct. Such as in like.
It is the single greatest clip I've ever heard.
Yeah.
It is. And Senator Feinbaum, remember, he used to be on ESPN.
Used to be being the key word.
So some people are pissed about this.
We don't take any shit.
So reportedly,
allegedly,
and it's probably true. Paul Feinbaum is not allowed by written policy to be on the air at ESPN because he has stated that he'd like to run for public office.
He is being shadow banned.
And there is a policy at ESPN that if you're a political candidate, and really it's all broadcast, if you're a political candidate, can't be on the old television show.
The fuck are you, Ranger Rick?
Oh, it's because you hate Republicans. Nope. Turns out that's been a policy. It has been for some years.
The ink isn't dry yet.
Do you think Paul Feinbaum should be allowed on TV?
No, not if he is a currently, yes, I do. But if he's going to run, once he legally and publicly announces that he is a candidate, should not be on ESPN anymore.
I think once you announce your intention to run, and
but he didn't
this is
say
where
that. He didn't say he had an intention to run. He said that recent events,
was seriously considered. Well, some people, including he himself, allegedly said,
such as in like
U.S. Americans,
was seriously considering running.
Yeah. So, good luck with that, Paul.
I think that it's the right thing to do.
May the odds be ever in your favor, as they say.
But what I love is, why do you guys get upset when ESPN has political figures on and people who get political? But then when Feinbaum gets political and they tell him he can't be on until that's all over with, you guys are still upset. That's what I don't understand. Like, you can't have it both ways.
Well, I think the question is obviously Stephen A. Smith, right? Because he's been very active politically, not in an official capacity, but he's been on Fox regularly. And, in his side hustle time, he talks politics all the time and has talked multiple times about how he would consider running for president, but then says it would be too big for him or whatever. Like, so I think that there are several people at the network who are walking the line for sure.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, and again, this is just me. I think no matter what ESPN does, people get upset about it. It's never going to be good enough. That's just my opinion. I think it will never, ever be good enough. And so my belief is it doesn't matter what ESPN says, they're going to be wrong. Because it just does not matter. It does not matter what ESPN does, they'll be wrong. In my opinion. I think they did the right thing. I think they absolutely did the right thing. And I think with as much battling as ABC has had to do with the FCC and coming out of the Kimmel thing pretty much unscathed with a win, I don't see there's any way they would risk it on Paul Feinbaum. And with the FCC looking for a fight, I don't think there's any way that ABC and Disney are going to fight that fight. I don't think anyway.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But that's just me. I think it's awfully difficult to make that argument. But, oh, there he is. Look, the fake James. I want Feinbaum to retire whether he runs or not. I think he's excellent for ESPN. Excellent. I wish they would get Stephen A. Off ESPN. Well, I think, again, he's excellent for ESPN. And they pay him a ton of money. So, UW fan Jim. Hello, James. No, but because of politics, just because he's an asshat. Okay.
Fair.
Okay. I think he shouldn't be on because is what it is. It's very difficult to keep him on when you have the policies you have. All right. Can we talk about who the worst team in the NFL is? Who is the worst team in the National Football League? Because we saw some football yesterday that I think is going to make you wonder who the worst team in the NFL is. And I actually think this is going to be a hell of a debate because I don't know if we know. Let's talk about that in 30 seconds after this from the Advocates.
Injured in an accident? You may be entitled to a bigger settlement, up to 3.5 times bigger. Your initial consultation is 100% free, and we don't get paid unless we win your case. No matter the accident, we are here to help. The Advocates will fight for you because you deserve clarity, you deserve justice, you deserve guidance, you deserve an advocate. Contact us today.
The Advocates at theadvocates.com, the best injury attorneys in the business. And I tell you every day, whether you get hurt at work, yes, they have workman's comp and they fight. They know how to fight. They know how to win. They fought that fight and they're happy to fight for you because you didn't deserve to get hurt at work. You didn't deserve to get in that car accident. You didn't deserve to get hit while you were riding your bike. And you guys know, here we are. Can you believe it's October 6th already? That's crazy. Halloween's coming. There's going to be a lot more people on the street, a lot more kids. Slow down. And if the worst happens, make sure you get to theadvocates.com 24/7, 365. They have an attorney ready to serve you where you need it, when you need it, and how you need it. Is that a video call? Is that a phone call? Is that in your hospital room, rather? Wherever you need it, the Advocates are ready to serve you. And the best part is you have nothing to lose because the Advocates are never going to make you pay them out of pocket. You don't pay the Advocates unless and until they win your case. So hook it up right now at theadvocates.com and make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. Jake, who's the worst team in the NFL?
Got to be the Jets, without a doubt. 0-5. Not really all that competitive. Only 0-4 team in the league. And it is, I don't know, man. Some people will tell you there's a positive spin on the Jets. Hey, they've been in some of these games. They've been play here, play there. Yeah, but the reality is you're 0-5. Like, let's not sugarcoat or polish a turd, man. There's not a lot good going on there, in my opinion.
I think it's the Las Vegas Raiders. I don't disagree with you about the New York Jets. I think clearly they're the only winless team in the NFL that matters, but I am telling you the Las Vegas Raiders are not far behind at 1-4. And I don't even know how you explain just how bad they are offensively. I think the Raiders might be one of the worst offensive teams. Not might be. They are one of the worst offensive teams in the NFL. And a lot of it is the absolute regression of Geno Smith. And it's hard to watch at this point. The way that they're losing, and you look at the way they lost to the Colts. Sure, the Colts are resurgent. Sure, the Colts are doing things that nobody thought they could do. I don't care who you are. It is inexplicable that Geno Smith was 25 of 36, 228, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and you only gave Ashton Jeanty 14 carries. He averaged 4.8 yards a carry, and you only gave him 14 carries? This is a broken team. Pete Carroll, in my opinion, is out of his depth. Pete Carroll, I think, is not the right guy for this job. As I said when they hired him, he's not the right guy for this job. Now, as far as the New York Jets are concerned, I'm trying to figure out and again, amongst things that I've said on this show that are probably going to sound crazy, and I understand it. How is Justin Fields arguably the best player on the offensive side of the ball, and your defense is trash? The New York Jets hired a guy in Aaron Glenn who is a defensive guy, and their defense has regressed. How is that possible? I don't know. They don't run hard on defense. They don't cover well. They don't tackle well. And Justin Fields was 32 of 46, 283 and 2 scores. He ran for 26 yards, and they lost, and it was not close. I'll never understand it. Now, Dak Prescott, I think, is the MVP of the National Football League. That's the 3rd week in a row I've said that. And I'm happy to keep running that out there because I think it's absolutely true. I think Dak Prescott is playing the best quarterback in the NFL, especially now that Josh Allen shat himself on Sunday Night Football last night. I think there's no doubt that Dak Prescott is playing the best quarterback in the NFL, and he's the NFL MVP if it were voted today. I don't think there is any doubt that when you look at George Pickens, he's playing incredible football. You had Sauce Gardner on him, and he still scored a touchdown because the back end of your defense doesn't communicate. I don't know. I don't think there's much of a gap. I would agree it's the Jets, but I think it's the Raiders.
Yeah, I think that the regression of Geno Smith definitely, that's definitely a huge red flag for the Raiders, and that coaching staff. But I think what we're really talking about is these coaching staffs. I mean, Aaron Glenn, yeah, he's a good defensive guy, but there's a difference between being the DC and working for a guy like Dan
Campbell
and having good vibes, and you're the Detroit Lions and everything's awesome. And then going to New York and being the guy and having to worry about install and having to worry about the entire team. And
you're herding cats as a head coach. You are herding cats. You are trying to make sure that all phases are prepared, and
he's not ready for that. Clearly. I mean, there's no other way. And again, we can keep, running this crap out about how like Justin Fields saying there's a first for everything. I appreciate the attitude, dude. I appreciate the mentality. I totally get it, but that's not the mentality you want to be having right now. That's not what I would be saying. I would be saying, hey man, listen, we're 0-5, right? We have a lot to work on. And there are some bright spots. There's some things that, we feel like we did well, but there are a lot of things we didn't do well. And that's why we're losing. And that's why we need to come together as a team and figure it out. That's what he should be saying. And I'm tired of the glossing in the NFL, dude. There is a very clear, you're a good team or you're a bad team. This year, there are not a ton of teams that are like, yeah, they're like mediocre. They're just okay. No, the Ravens suck this year, dude. You're an awful team this year. You're not playing good football. Good luck getting into the postseason. Don't want to talk about you. Don't need to talk about you, right? Now, the Dallas Cowboys, give the Dallas Cowboys credit. Give Shoddy some credit, right? Got off to a rough start. You're back to 500, and you're playing good football right now, right? But if honestly, if we're going to sit here and look at the NFL, you've got a bunch of 4-1 teams, a couple 3-1 teams, and then it's pretty much a fall off from there. This is a very clear and transparent league right now.
And then, I don't know how many more times I can say how much I hate Nick Sirianni. It's hard to mess this up. So let me get this right. You have arguably two of the best wide receivers in the NFL. You have a tight end who likes catching the football. You have all kinds of options to run the football. You gave up 18 points in the fourth quarter, and Saquon Barkley had 6 carries the entire game. And you're wondering why you lost, and you're blaming the defense. And I am here to tell you it's an offensive problem. And it's going to continue to be an offensive problem because you won't run the football. And I cannot say this enough. Give him the ball 25 times a game at a minimum, Saquon. Run it 20, throw it to him 10, run it 25. Throw it to him 5 times. I don't care. How is Saquon Barkley touching the ball 9 total times in a game where you couldn't score points? Did you think it was a good idea to have Jalen Hurts throw the ball 38 times for a guy who's an average passer? 38 times in a passing offense that has been strictly average for over a month. You thought it was a good idea to let Jalen Hurts throw it 38 times and give it to Saquon 9 total times. I will never understand Nick Sirianni, and you can all sit here and you can call him a genius. I'm not getting on that bandwagon. Nick Sirianni always leaves more on the table, in my opinion. And this team is suffering because of him as their head coach.
It's 17-3 going to the fourth quarter. Saquon Barkley has 9 total carries. What are we doing? What are we doing? Well, how are we in a place where you didn't turn the ball over a single time in this game and you gave up 18 points in the fourth quarter? Oh, that's right. That's right. Because you refuse to burn clock and you refuse to manage the clock correctly. Because that's ultimately what this is, right? When you have a 2-possession or more lead in the fourth quarter, all you're doing is managing clock. You don't have to score more points at that point. If you do, that's great. Awesome. Knock yourself out. But the reality is you have to possess the ball longer in the fourth quarter than the other team does. And if you do that, you win the game. If you don't, you lose the game. It's pretty simple. You have the best running back in the NFL, or one of the best 3, depending on who you ask, I guess, but pretty much the best running back in the NFL. You've got 2 of the best wide receivers in the NFL. Devontae Smith, AJ Brown. And what was the storyline? And this is truly what I think the issue is for Sirianni and that coaching staff. What was the storyline last week? Or the week before, I think it was. Might have been 2 weeks ago. Hey, we're not passing it enough. Too much Saquon, right? Saquon's getting all these touches. AJ Brown got like 3 touches the whole game, like last week or 2 weeks ago or whenever it was. And now what do we get? Well, now we're throwing it 38 times. And let me refresh your guys' memory. AJ Brown still only got 5 receptions. So now what we've done is we're not running it at all. We're throwing it to Saquon up the sideline there at one point in the game. We're throwing it a bunch to Devontae Smith because they were bracketing AJ Brown. But we're not running a balanced offense. So the reality is, Eagle fan, this loss is squarely on that coaching staff. There is no way around it, dude. You don't go to the fourth quarter at home and lose because you gave up 18 unanswered points. That is unacceptable. And that is typical Nick Sirianni BS. You should be undefeated right now. But here we are. So I don't know, man. We talk about, hey, like, who are the teams that we should be scared of? Who are the teams that we know are really good and really, who are those teams? I don't really know because I don't trust the Eagles. I don't buy, I like what Daniel Jones and company are doing in Indy, but are we really sitting here saying that we buy them for a deep playoff run this early in the year? We got to see more from them, right?
So I mean, Daniel Jones is playing out of his mind. Is he an MVP? No, I don't think so. I mean, I think right now the MVP would be Dak or Baker Mayfield. Mm-hmm. But you look at the way that Danny Dimes is playing. I mean, do you guys know that he of qualified quarterbacks, He's got 150 attempts and 162 dropbacks. He's rated an 81 at PFF on 150 dropbacks. And it's pretty remarkable if you look at the way that the quarterbacks grade out in the NFL, and he is 10th in the NFL in passing. And that is ahead of a lot of names that you know. And you look at who PFF on qualified throws. It's important to note. Matthew Stafford's number 1, Darnold 2, Prescott 3, Davis Mills not qualified. I thought it was funny that Davis Mills got into a game.
Rando stat guy.
Right. Jordan Love, Josh Allen is 7th. Herbert is 8th. And then Daniel Jones is 9th in the NFL and PFF. And you look at the PFF MVP ranking among quarterbacks, it's not even close. It's Dak Prescott. Like it is. It's wild. And you just really start to understand that it's tough when you start looking at who's playing well. It's tough to knock down Danny Dimes and the way he's played for Indianapolis. He has made a huge difference.
Yeah, I think
huge difference.
I think Danny Dimes is more in line for comeback player of the year than MVP. Just with, where they are as a team. And
he's not going to be the MVP.
Yeah,
it's not going to happen.
I think that the question really is when you look at the teams at the top of the stack, obviously, we know the teams that have staying power, right? So we know that, as an example, the Bills, the Eagles,
yep.
The Bucks, certainly. I mean, Bake, dude, my guy, playing out of your freaking mind.
Out of
right
his
now.
mind.
I mean, we have a graphic in there of these last 4 games where he's just willed them to victory in these tight games. Like, I don't know what Baker's eating for breakfast, but the guy is just playing his ass off. And I think that MVP right now it's tough to say. I mean, obviously the front runner is Dak, and then probably Bake, and then Josh Allen right now. At the end of the year, we'll see what it looks like. I think that, the Chargers this week disappointed me, dude. Like, I don't know. I don't know, man. I look at that squad. You've lost 2 in a row. Look at these scores right here. This is what I'm talking about. Look at these scores, dude. And he is bringing them back from the depths in these games, dude. And let me play our favorite bite of the day here from Meathead on Fox. But Buddy has been playing his ass off with his counterpart.
Mika Egbegboo.
Yeah, Egbegboo. Just catch after catch, deep ball after deep ball. So I don't know. I don't know if the league adjusts, if they're just that good. They're playing really good ball. So I mean, I have no problem saying that Dak is leading the MVP conversation right now. I agree. Casual fan won't have Baker in there, but he should absolutely be right there.
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt right now that it's Dak Prescott and Baker Mayfield. I mean, I am not even. I don't even question that. The Seahawks Bucks game is quintessential Baker Mayfield.
Mm-hmm.
And Emeka Egbuka is in this conversation because he belongs in the conversation with best quarterback wide receiver duos. He was sensational. But yeah, I think if you look at the Buffalo loss last night, does it mean anything in the grand scheme of things? Probably not. If you look at it, how much does it hurt Josh Allen? Josh Allen probably isn't winning the MVP award again anyway. I just think there are a lot of other guys in position. I think Dak Prescott, if he continues on this arc, runs away with it. And because he's been so over the top better than every other quarterback in the NFL. But I think you have to really understand that if they were to lose again in the next 2-3 games, I might start wondering what's the flaw with Buffalo. The only thing that concerns you is how they lost that game.
Mm-hmm.
And our big concern has been all year, really, that their offense isn't explosive and their defense isn't over the top good. That's the thing that worries you a little bit. Josh Allen, terrible interception. I mean, terrible interception at a bad time. But Drake May also played out of his mind. He was very good.
Josh just didn't play well, dude. Interception, fumble. I mean, you just weren't. You just weren't. You didn't play a good game. And I agree.
But
Drake
I also
played well.
But I also think it's important to say the New England defense is significantly better this year.
They are.
And I think when you look at Mike Vrabel and what he's meant to them as a football team, I think it's really important to point out Mike Vrabel's done an excellent job there. And it's mainly that he brought belief back and experience back because Mike Vrabel's won at the highest level as a player and a coach. And that defense is really good, significantly improved. And I think Drake May is playing really good football. So
I don't disagree. I think Drake, dude, the viral clip of that sideline throw is awesome. I think he played well overall. I do think he is very good instinctually, knowing when, specifically when he's running. When he's running, he is very good at feeling when there's someone behind him.
Yes.
And taking care of the ball and doing those things. So I don't know, man. It was good to see them put up a good fight, no doubt.
But it is disappointing to me that Buffalo just no show. That's probably strong. Buffalo did not play well. Josh Allen was not good last night.
3 points in the first half.
He was not good. And you can see that the regression isn't that Josh Allen is going to start throwing interceptions twice a game. The regression was he got desperate because they were going to lose and he threw a terrible interception.
Mm-hmm.
That's what worries you. His continued ball security issues worry you. I don't like that running the ball 9 times. I think 3 or 4 of, I think it was 3 of them were designed. The overwhelming majority were, he was frustrated. You could see in the second half, he was frustrated.
Yeah.
Because his guys aren't getting separation. They're not getting open. You can't have your tight end be the leading receiver in their offense. That's not going to work. But then again, when you start looking at the Khalil Shakirs of the world, you didn't bring a take the top off the defense wide receiver into that room. And you're seeing that their wide receivers have turned into possession guys. And I think for Josh Allen, that's problematic. And I think him and Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox to a lesser extent. I just think Dawson is not the athlete that Dalton Kincaid is. Josh likes throwing to his tight ends because I think he knows that he doesn't have a take it off the top wide receiver. And it's a problem. And I'm just going to keep going back to this. They've got to run the ball more than 29 times. But they've got to do that with James Cook. He held out. You paid him. You gave an extension, and he gets 15 carries, and he gets 1 target in the passing game, no catches and 1 target, and we're supposed to believe that somehow this is good offense? I agree that Josh has got to be better. You can't have a defensive guy as your head coach when you have a Ferrari as the quarterback. I need somebody who understands how to tune a V12 motor if we're going to run a V12 motor.
Mm-hmm.
And Josh Allen is a guy who can take you so far because he hasn't shown that he can win you a championship or even an AFC championship. He needs somebody to take him further. And McDermott's not the guy. I say this about John Harbaugh. I think this is McDermott. I think if you look at Cincinnati, you're starting to thinking about Cincinnati, who, why have you not traded for a quarterback yet?
Oh,
I'm gonna
Jake
say
Browning's
this,
our guy, bro.
But I'm going to say this about Cleveland. The loss in Cleveland was 100% not the quarterback's fault. Dylan Gabriel comes in and plays one of the best rookie quarterback games we've seen in the last 2 years in the NFL. And 2 unforgivable play calls at the end of the game. And the one on the 4th down was horrendous. And you want to keep blaming Joe Flacco and crab fingers and all the other quarterbacks you've had there. Kevin Stefanski's not the guy to move this program forward. So what did you think of Dylan Gabriel yesterday, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, I thought he looked good. I did. I thought that Dylan Gabriel, you know, I had my doubts, right? Like, obviously, as a left-handed quarterback, smaller guy, you know, this is not a guy that you would look at and be like, yeah, he'll be a franchise guy. He'll be some great performer that's just going to knock it out of the park. But, you know, I mean, I think that Dylan Gabriel looked good. You know, I think he's a rookie. Obviously, it's going to take time. And you're a bad team. You should be playing Dylan Gabriel. And, you know, the team, honestly, I thought the team reacted to him well. I thought, again, he ran the offense well. But I do agree, like, this is the same conversation over and over and over again. Who's the quarterback playing the position since your, you know, dumb self decided to let Bake go? Because the reality is you haven't had a guy since Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield's the best quarterback you've had in how long, and you let him go, and everything's gone downhill from there. And eventually, the leash on Stefanski begins to run out because he's been headlining this thing the whole time. And so it's like, all right, at some point, we got to hit the reset button. But the problem is even with getting a really good game out of Dylan Gabriel, you don't look at this team and you're like, oh man, now we've got some momentum with Dylan Gabriel and we're really going to go places as a 1-4 football team. Like, it's too late. You should have started this trend earlier. You should have tried to build momentum earlier on. But I think it's fair to say that Kevin Stefanski as a head coach, I do think is talented and I do think is capable, but they are a bad organization. It's difficult to get away from that. It's difficult. Like, even still today, like, we're sitting here talking about quarterbacks, even still, you still have Deshaun Watson at the facility, working out, doing all this. Why is he still around?
I totally disagree. I think Stefanski's terrible. I think that Dylan Gabriel played a hell of a football game yesterday, and he got held back by his coach. They lost another game because of his coach. I don't agree that Stefanski's a guy that can win you a bulk of games. I don't. And I think, like, to the Deshaun Watson thing, I've heard that a lot. What else would you have him do?
Get his ass out of there. He can't be in the organization
but
anymore.
How is he? But how is that even impacting anything that happens on game day? It's meaningless. Focus on the stuff that wins and loses games. Play calling and executing an offense wins and loses you game. Dylan Gabriel was not put in a position to win a football game yesterday. I think that I am off the Stefanski bandwagon. I understand he's won Coach of the Year multiple times. I'm off of that. It's why I'm off of the Vikings yesterday. Right? Like, you look at how much better they are without Save Harbaugh as their quarterback, or Free Harbaugh, I guess the t-shirt said. J.J. McCarthy is not an NFL quarterback. Carson Wentz is in short windows, but yet you were going with J.J. McCarthy, and now how are you going to get back to him? Oh, all of a sudden that high ankle sprain's a little worse than we thought. Yeah, he's going to be out like the rest of the season, right? Like, you're in real trouble in some of these situations because, again, as I always say, you cannot handle the quarterback situation. And it's why you don't hire Aaron Glenn to be the head coach of the Jets. But then again, you've hired Adam Gase in the past. And how did that work out? You've hired Bob Saleh. Terrible decision. Gutted a quarterback. These organizations who refuse to put right guys together with a quarterback are why teams lose. And I'll continue to say my biggest hope for my Chicago Bears, Ben Johnson and Cleavage Crier, is a great combination. It works perfectly well. And it's why the Bears are significantly better offensively. But then again, I go to the Baltimore Ravens and I say to myself, John Harbaugh has no business still being the head coach of this team. And I'll continue to say that they're not going anywhere with Lamar Jackson and John Harbaugh together. That combination has to come to an end. If you're not willing to run the football, and if you are unwilling, I look at the way that offensive game plan was put together, and I just don't understand what on earth you are doing defensively. Who's the defensive coordinator there? Oh, that's right, John Harbaugh. It's his defense, right? And I understand that you had a quarterback yesterday and Cooper Rush that threw 3 interceptions. Totally get it. Derrick Henry only got 15 carries. Huh. Oh, because you were trailing, because your defense can't stop anybody. And one of the worst offenses in the NFL put up 44 points on you yesterday. Let that sink in. The Houston Texans haven't scored 44 points in the history of their organization combined. That's probably an exaggeration. But I don't understand in any way. And if you guys want to help me understand, I'm all for it. What was that out of that defense? Because I like CJ Stroud. He hasn't been that quarterback all year. He has legitimately not been that quarterback all year long. CJ Stroud. And the Ravens show up in their own building and give up a virtuoso performance to CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans. Like, how does that math? This team, the Baltimore Ravens, are broken, dude.
Yeah. I mean, that's the best way to say it. I mean, I don't think anyone had on their preseason bingo card that the Ravens defense was going to be embarrassingly bad. Like,
do you understand that CJ Stroud's a 33rd rated passer in the NFL? 33rd. There are only 32 starters. He's 33rd in the NFL. How do make it math? I'm not even. I don't know, joke.
Man. I don't know. And
out of qualified starters, he's 17th in the NFL. 17th. He's not even top half of the league, and he put up probably easily the best start of the year.
Yeah,
so,
turn around your season kind of game, dude. It's frustrating, bro. I mean, if you're the Ravens, you have difficult decisions to make now because you're obviously going to ride out this season with this team, and they're going to try and figure it out. And hey, we'll try to make the postseason kind of year, and just like we'll just try to scrap something together here. But you're 1-4, and you're 1-2 at home. Like that's bad. That is bad football, and there's no other way around it. That the problem's bigger than Lamar now. Right. Used to be the crutch was, hey, well, Lamar can't pass from the pocket. Right. He can't. When we get to the biggest moment, Lamar's not that guy. That used to be your crutch. Then you went out and you got Derrick Henry, who you were like, oh, well, dude, we got Derrick Henry. We're going to run it a bunch more. That's going to open up the pass game, and that's going to alleviate that problem. We should be able to beat the Chiefs, or we should be able to beat the Bills anytime, any place. No problem about it.
Yes.
And somehow, some way, you have messed it up with Derrick Henry 10 ways to Sunday. I don't know how it's that hard to be like, yeah, dude, hey, maybe we're not running it great in the first quarter, but we're going to continue to pound the rock. We've got one of the most physical running backs the NFL has ever seen, and we just refuse to give it to him. 15 carries yesterday, like you said, right? 15 carries yesterday, and your backup is in because Buddy's leg hurts.
But look at the Detroit Lions, because I think this is a perfect example of this. They know who Jared Goff is as a quarterback. They know who he is. Not spectacular. He is a statue. So what do? They run the football 33 times yesterday. Jared Goff throws 3 touchdowns, 250 yards. Not spectacular. Not really even that great of a performance. They win the game. And now it was Cincinnati. Nobody's getting excited about that. But that's why I think it's such a fascinating comparison. They know who Jared Goff is. They know they need to run the ball significantly. And they do. But you can't figure that out in Baltimore. You can't figure that out in Buffalo. You can't figure that out with the Jets. You can't figure that out with the Giants. You can't figure that out. Like, it's amazing to me how many of these offenses can't figure out that your biggest problem is you're not turning around and handing it to Derrick Henry. That you're not turning around and letting your quarterback get some breath into a game.
Mm-hmm.
Because not everybody's going to perform at the level of a Dak Prescott. In fact, few have this year. So give Josh Allen a couple of 2, 3, 4 plays on a drive where I can just turn around and hand it to James Cook. And let him reset. Let him rethink. Let him hear from his coach a little bit more in his ear. But so many offenses around the league can't figure that out. Yet here's Dan Campbell running the ball 33 times. 18 carries, 65 yards for David Montgomery. I thought it was one of the best game plans that we saw in the NFL yesterday. And still, Amon-Ra had 18 for 100.
Well, I just think people forget that, it's 1st and 10. Like, all you need to do is run the ball 3 yards at a time, right? 3 yards at a time.
Yeah.
And you're going to be in a really strong position, right? If you're 3rd and 1 all day, dude, you're going to win that game 9 times out of 10. But teams don't want to do that. And I'm not saying it's got to be, just an obtuse amount of running, but you have to run it enough to make the defense respect you. And
just give them a chance.
Yeah, like whether it's at the college level or in the NFL, like you got to run it enough to where the linebackers actually have to be concerned that you're going to run the football. Like, that's the problem, man. Like, these teams have an embarrassment of riches, but don't know how to use them. And yeah, I think the Lions are a good example of what you broke down. But again, what's the mentality of that team? And maybe that's the best point of all. Out of any of these teams we've talked about, the mentality of the Lions is, hey, we want to beat your ass. That is Dan Campbell's stated philosophy. We are going to out-physical these guys in every facet of the game. And then eventually our statue of a quarterback, who I actually like a lot and have been on his side for a long ass time, is going to bomb it down the field because he throws a great deep ball, throws a good intermediate ball, and our guys are going to run wild through the secondary. That is when the Lions offense is at its best.
And then you have the Arizona Cardinals. I don't know how much more embarrassing it can get. And this is another team where I say to myself, you have quarterback, head coach dysfunction. And then Amari DiMercato, I'd have cut him. I'll be honest with you. This stuff where these guys are dropping the ball at the goal line, I would have cut him. I'm done with it. I can't. There's nothing cool or neat or hip about it. Not on my football team. I got to send you away. He would not have gotten another carry. He would not have been in the football game. And I would have cut him after the game. It doesn't even matter to me. This is not a rookie. What's he in his third or fourth year? This is a guy that played at TCU. He knows better. He's played big football games. You're dropping the ball at the goal line. Oh, but Monty, I don't care if it was really close.
It doesn't matter.
It does not matter. You know what? It wasn't that close, was it? Because, yeah, it was a fumble. And in my opinion, you cannot be a nothing running back and cost us a football game, which is what you did. Because I can go get another Amari DiMercato.
Mm-hmm.
I can't go get another Trey McBride. I can't go get another Kyler Murray. As much as Kyler's Kyler.
Well, and that concussion he sustained when you snapped it off his face, I mean, those are some issues.
Somebody explain it. Make it make sense, because I don't understand how on earth the Tyler Lockett touchdown happens, the fumble thing. Not really sure how you got beat 16-0 by Tennessee in the second half.
Yeah, walk me through how you're up 21-6 at the half and you lose that game. How does that work? To the Titans.
What do you have to lose by cutting DeMercado?
Nothing. And the question isn't what do you have to lose, it's what you have to gain. Because if you cut him, you send a message to the team like, hey, this isn't good enough. Like this is wholly unacceptable.
I will never understand this drop in the football at the goal line.
And again, it now that we're talking about it, I'm like, yeah, dude, like the Cardinals, the Browns, the Ravens, like I don't really care how good you were last year. Like there are teams that were good last year that are now in a grouping of teams that is like super dysfunctional, not capable of winning the game. Again, and I did not have this mental note in my head before the show, but yeah, this is another, hey, you were way ahead, and then the fourth quarter happens, and you just gave this game away because you're dumb, because you made all these mistakes and just were not prepared to win the game. And
it's wild.
It's bad organizations being bad at football, dude. Simple as that.
Yeah, it's weird. It is. I don't even know what you do.
And no, I don't think that Gannon, quote unquote, hitting him on the sideline was
that's a bad look.
Yeah, it might be a bad look, dude, but he didn't hit him in the face. He didn't punch him. He hit him on the chest plate, dude. Like people don't have an issue with this because of how he hit him. People have an issue with this because of it's in a disciplinary fashion.
Can't do it. It's violence in a league of violence. It is, and I think that's what people have so much issue with is that it's violence, and it's violence and anger, and I think it's a huge problem. Gannon, again, this team has regressed. This team, are you telling me you're better with Gannon than you were with Cliffy? Is that what you're telling me? I got news for you. You're worse than you were with Cliffy, because with Cliffy, at least, little drummer boy knew what he was trying to do with the football. I think it's a huge problem. I do. Maury Alvarez, who I was waiting for the 33-month bomb, Maury. The Ravens are the Family Dollar of the NFL. You find gems there once in a while, but when push comes to shove, usually you'll drive 10 extra miles to Walmart to get a better selection.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. Johnny Gonzalez, hello. Now that Ben Johnson is now in Chicago, are we now seeing more of Dan Campbell's personality in the Lions offense? No, I mean, I think Dan Campbell wants to run the football. And I think Dan Campbell understands he's got this year, and then this football team is going to be remarkably different next year. You understand that the salary cap becomes a problem after this season for the Lions. And it was interesting listening to Dan Campbell on, I think it was Sirius XM. He was talking about the importance of this season and how significant this season is. And with all the change, this season is still the most important season of his career because we know that it's do or die. When Jared Goff, and I'd have to look it up, but I'm pretty sure he's got a $70 million cap hit next year. You don't renegotiate somebody's number that doubles in cap hit. That's going to be awfully difficult to do. You're going to have significant change on this roster next year. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how committed to paying Jared Goff this organization is, because he's not special or unique. And he is a guy that, while very good, Jared Goff, he's probably a top 12 quarterback in the NFL. I haven't looked at his numbers on where does PFF have him. PFF currently has Jared Goff as the 16th highest rated passer. And in the MVP scale, Jared Goff is 23rd on the MVP scale at PFF. But I mean, he is he's completing, the number that really stands out to you is he's completing 75% of his passes on 145 attempts. Now, those attempts are lower because, well, they are committed to running the football, which I think is really important, especially in the North. I think you really have to run the football well.
And I don't think they run it that much because they want balance per se. I mean, that's a side effect, but they run it because it's their culture. Like, that's what
I would agree.
Like, that's that's the embodiment.
That's who Dan Campbell is.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's what they're looking for.
Wasikowski, David Montgomery had a passing TD as well. That's cool.
Neat.
Insignificant. And I say insignificant because it's a trick play. Like,
right.
You're gonna win. And here we are saying this on October 6th. I mean, it's incredibly young in this season. You're going to win with your staples and your core. And in Detroit, that core is going to be running the football and not asking Jared Goff to do too much. And I think that's what you're seeing. I think he's playing good football. And I think it'll be interesting to see how he plays late into this season. But you know, I think they're very good. And with all of this bad football, some people are still wanting the league to expand. Not going to happen. The product is way too diluted already. The hard part is you can't protect the quarterbacks any more than you're protecting them. The quarterbacks are the product. You look at, again, Josh Allen. Is Josh Allen at his ceiling? Is this as good as Josh Allen ever gets?
Yes. I think
if this is as good as he gets, you got to fire the coach this offseason because Justin Herbert is a significantly higher graded, more high efficiency passer this year than he's been in any time because they hired a guy who makes quarterbacks better. Right? That's what Josh Allen needs. And you would hate to see a Matt Stafford type move away from Buffalo for Josh Allen. But I don't know how else you do it unless you change the head coach and you change the roster construction of that club. Because if we look at who the real Super Bowl contenders are, obviously Kansas City. I would not put Baltimore in that discussion, even though Vegas
Certainly
has
not.
them still as the odds-on favorite in that division. You figure it out. I think it's Kansas City and Buffalo. And in the NFC, I don't think you know. Honestly, right now, today, could you really pin down confidently who's coming out of the NFC? I'm certainly not ready to ride with Philadelphia, San Francisco, as much as I like San Francisco with Purdy and Mac Jones. That's a huge problem.
Yeah, I mean, there's
Tampa?
just such a melting pot of solid teams that could hit a burner late in the year and go on a run, you know? And that's what I think is difficult in the NFC is like, you know, we've seen Philly get off to crap starts and figure it out, you know? So, like, I think there's a little bit of belief there that they will kind of iron things out. You know, San Francisco, that's a really curious case, man. I think that, you know, Mac Jones, I think, has proven to be productive. I still maintain, you know, give Mac Jones a ton of credit. Kyle Shanahan's the GOAT at taking a crap situation and making something good out of it. And yeah, right. And I think that it's like, all right, well, you know, I appreciate that Mac Jones is playing the role, right? Both in the press and on the field. He's doing a really good job, deserves a lot of credit. But again, that team's flawed. Right. So we need to see, you know, obviously they're looking nice to come out of that division right now. But again, we'll see. I think the Rams, I don't know. Again, I don't mind that Sean McVay is aggressive. I don't mind it. But you have to be correct in the play call if you're going to be aggressive. Running it there was an absolute mistake. You know, your quarterback in Stafford was on an absolute heater, having a huge game. Should have put it in his hands if you were going to go for it. But again, cost yourself a game there. They're a good team. Could see them putting it together. So it's hard for the NFC. I would agree with you. I think is pretty wide open, dude. It's pretty wide open at this point.
Bailey Dietrich, I thought the Chargers hired a lying cheater as their head coach. Oh, Jim
They did.
Harbaugh's a scumbag. Absolutely.
Yeah, they did.
He also knows how to build quarterbacks. I mean, he knows how to make good quarterbacks, and he knows how to make quarterbacks good. Is he a lying cheater who I would never, ever want to be part of my organization? That's correct. Does that mean he can't coach quarterbacks? No, it doesn't. Again, after the 26, the cap goes, who gives a flying flip about after 26 in the cap? Who cares? What does that have to do with anything? Like it, I mean, that's a half-life away in the NFL. Jared Goff will not be there after probably this season. I mean, you're not taking I'm pretty sure, and I can look it up, but I'm pretty sure it's like in 2026, I'm pretty sure he takes a $70 million cap hit. And I think Amon-Ra goes up to like 33. Let's see. The Detroit Lions. Yeah, I'm exactly right as usual. As you okay.
As usual.
Jared Goff, $69.6 million cap hit. And a dead cap number, and this is why I say it's going to be really tough. A dead cap number of 63.8. Do you know how difficult that is to overcome? That is going to be very difficult. And Amon-Ra, 33.1 with a $44 million cap hit. With a $44 million dead cap number. And I think even bigger than that is what are you going to do? What are you going to do with Aiden Hutchinson? That's the bigger question.
Good luck.
That's the bigger question. Like that's
Aiden Hutchinson will be a victim of their willingness to win, meaning that if you need to part ways with Goff, and you have, a much more lower end quarterback, you're probably not going to pay Aiden Hutchinson top league money to be there on a losing team. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, maybe they figure it out. Maybe they make a move. They get a quarterback that costs them a lot less money, try to run it back or something. I don't know, but they're definitely going to have to figure things out with the cap, no doubt.
Mabe says Mac Jones and Robert Saleh were the best things the Niners did this offseason. They need to trade for a pass rusher. Yeah, I think that's going to continue to plague them, and their offensive line has not been good. Their pass protection has not been good, and I think Mac has covered up a lot of those inadequacies.
Yeah, I mean, wearing two-tone suits to the game will really do that for you,
Dude, I thought that looked great. Baker Mayfield is doing it on his own without a key coach, another new OC. He's not doing it on his own.
Big Boo.
Yeah, he's not doing it on his own. I got news for you.
Yeah.
He's not doing it on his own. I think what they're getting, you can look at whatever you want to say about the head coach. You look at the production that they're getting, and you look at one of the things that really, when you start looking at total packages and you start looking at, hey, how are we doing pass blocking? It is not accidental that pass blocking is at an all-time low in this league. But when you look at Tampa, it is really bad. They're one of the lowest rated pass blocking teams. So when we start looking at, well, how is Tampa actually doing things? It's getting out of the pocket, which they are scheming now. And he is very productive in throws over 8 yards outside the pocket. And it gets a little worse over 15 yards. But when the target is 8 to 12 yards, Baker Mayfield's lethal.
Yeah.
And it's especially lethal when he's outside the pocket. So they are scheming to protect him from that offensive line. And it'd be nice if they could run the ball a little more effectively. I mean, that would really take a lot of pressure off the O-line, but you're averaging 2.3 yards a carry. And granted, Seattle's physical up front, but I think Emeka Egbuka is legitimately good as a wide receiver. I think Tez Johnson, I will actually say Sterling Shepard gave them some really important receptions yesterday. I think he's playing very well.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see
it's an incredible feat. And I know that, no Mike Evans, but dude, it's an incredible feat when you play for the Bucs and Mike Evans is on your roster and he's not a conversation piece because you have other guys.
Well, because he's just not able to play regularly now. I mean, he's just so often injured. If Max shows good next few games, could see him going to the Lions after this season. Well, he fits right into what they do. But I think you're going to have to get creative. How many more years are you willing to rely on Jared Goff? And that's a big conversation, and it's a tough one. And I think they know that decision's coming with his cap number, and his dead cap number is the one that really. Not all extensions are good extensions, and I think Jared Goff has been worth the money, but this offseason is really going to be a kick in the nuts. It's going to be very difficult. Very, very difficult. So, but I also think a lot of coaches are going to lose their jobs. That's why, I mean, you look at Tampa, Todd Bowles, being 4-1 and undefeated on the road is a hell of an accomplishment. But I think I'm going to be interested to see how many offensive guys are going to be available. That's what I'm really curious to see, is how many offensive guys are going to be available. And the answer is I have no idea. I don't know, because if you look at the best offensive minds, it's Cliff Kingsbury is probably the best offensive mind available, and he turned jobs down. So,
yeah,
we'll see. Mac Jones is signed for 2 years. Sorry, Lions. Well, but it means nothing. What is that? I'd have to look it up, but I'm pretty sure Mac Jones is like a $2 million number or something stupid like that. Not even. For 20, God, their cap is a mess. For 2026, Mac Jones total comp is, what does that put him at? 2.792. His dead cap total comp is 2.7. Who cares? I mean, it's the.
I'm going to go ahead and say that's workable.
Yeah, the contract's meaningless, and I think they knew that when they signed him. He was a project when they signed him. So, yeah, we'll see what happens, but I have no idea. Brad Cook proved Monty wrong. Probably. What do you mean, Brad Cook? What am I missing? I have no idea who Brad Cook is, but
neither do I.
Is that a commenter? What do you mean, Brad Cook? And who am I proving wrong? But, I think, what the problem is? I think when you look at guys like Wasikowski, you guys get so over the top emotional about, like, you were so pissed off about, I laughed at you yesterday, and you may not even know this. I laughed at you because you were ripping me last week over something I said about where the Lions are in the power rankings. And I'm literally watching ESPN Sunday morning, and they had the Lions like 6th or something. And it's like, you're the one who's delusional about the Lions, dude. I mean,
he's a fan.
It's crazy to me, but all right, real quick before we get out of here. Although I guess we should talk about Mark Sanchez. Did you guys hear this story? Of course you did. Who hasn't? This can't just be I was drunk. Right? This just can't. There's no way this is I'm drunk.
We received an amended or an additional probable cause affidavit this morning. Again, this is something that happens in virtually every case here in Marion County. And with that additional information, we have added more serious charges against Mr. Sanchez. At this point in time, we have filed a felony charge, a level 5 felony of battery involving serious bodily injury, which contains a penalty of 1 to 6 years. One of the things that I want to stress to everybody is that we are still in the early stages of this investigation. Chief and his team have a number of search warrants that are still outstanding. They're still tracking down additional information. This is by no means the end of this investigation. This by no means means that these are going to be the final charges that we move forward with.
So let me get this right. You allegedly got drunk. You allegedly were doing wind sprints in an alleyway. You allegedly saw a truck that was there to pick up cooking oil to dispose of. You were allegedly under the influence of something. You went after that truck driver to the point where you jumped in his truck, tried to pull the truck away, drive it away. You and this truck driver got into a physical altercation, which now it is alleged you stabbed him in the face. Mark Sanchez is alleged to have stabbed the truck driver in the face. You kept coming at the truck driver, so he maced you. You came at him again, so he stabbed you multiple times in the chest. And you injured the truck driver to the point where he's in the hospital. His face is lacerated all the way down. I believe it's the left side of the truck driver's face. And this is all while you were in Indianapolis to do the Raiders-Colts game. And you were allegedly so intoxicated or under the influence of alcohol, the victim in this case now, because you're under arrest and now you're charged with a level 5 felony, which is no joke. You were so intoxicated, he smelled it on you, and in his witness statement, in his victim statement, said that he could smell the alcohol on you, and he was in fear of his life. So he pepper sprayed you and then stabbed you multiple times, after which you ran away.
That video has been released.
Which I'm not interested in showing.
Yeah.
You can't tell me this is just liquor. There is something wrong here. This is not, I got drunk, let me steal a truck, and he stabbed me for it. Yeah, I'm going to say that's not what happened here.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know the motive or what, what happened for it to escalate to this point. I mean, the thing that's troubling to me is it's just so out of the blue. I mean, again, I'm not going to sit here and claim to know, butt fumbler personally, but I mean, you can't tell me that this is just alcohol, dude. Because if he had this much of an alcohol problem,
no way,
we'd have known this years ago, right? I mean, again, when you have an issue with alcohol, you typically get DUI problems. You get you all know the classic cases of it. So I tend to believe that this is probably a mixture of some kind. This is probably alcohol and another drug or something that.
But this feels like you guys remember the bath salts guy that would eat your face.
Yeah.
He would I think wasn't that in Miami? Like there was a dude taking bath salts and he'd come out and he would eat people's faces.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that stands out is he just kept going after him, right? There was
it's just so crazy.
Yeah, so now it's like, okay, well, the like that prosecutor was saying that one charge carries 1 to 6, and they've got a whole stack of papers full of charges against him. So I don't know, man. It's really a shame. Like I in my time watching him as a commentator, I don't mind him. I don't think he was terrible at his job or anything. Obviously not the best in the industry, but not bad, just solid. And
insignificant though.
Insignificant, certainly insignificant.
This feels like, and I hate to say it, this feels like another CTE incident. This feels like a guy who's outside of himself. This feels like a guy who's not right mentally. This feels like a guy who
things about him though. That's the hard part,
did you hear this about Junior Seau? Did you hear this about Dave Duerson? Did you hear this about all these other dudes? Did you hear this about Javon Belcher? Did you hear that? The problem is you don't hear this about these guys. They suffer in silence because they're big macho guys. And I really hope I'm wrong. I hope my opinion
I hope
is
you are
just
too, man.
way off base. Only I don't think
I mean,
it
good luck
is.
proving why this happened, though. I mean, I don't know. I mean, are we just going to sit here and say, hey, like this, that, like, if the findings are, hey, he had a combination of alcohol and some kind of substance and he just was under the influence. Okay. Then I guess we're just going to speculate the rest of our life.
You
I don't know.
understand, but his life is over.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
His millions are gone.
He's done.
Between lawyers and the settlement, his millions are gone. And he looks like he's going to do real time on this.
Yeah, I think he's going to be lucky to do less than 10, honestly, based on what they were saying.
We'll see. It's just such a heinous attack. It really is.
That's the problem. Yeah, Anyway.
All right. The Monty Show, as always, presented by our good friends at The Advocates, theadvocates.com. Good to be with you. Enjoy the games. By the way, Doyers are up 4-0 on Philly. The Cubs are going to lose coming up here in about 45 minutes. Shut up!
Season's going to end tonight, guys. We won't have a show tomorrow. When the Cubs lose, I will be in mourning over the death of the season. All right. Say goodbye, Jake.
Love you all. Appreciate you being here. Hit the like button on the way out the door. Until tomorrow, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.